It started with an owner who had a last name fans despised, hiring a coach that the experts thought was crazy,
But I got a plan, I swear to you.
who traded for a QB that was said to be washed up. They said the Detroit Lions would never amount to anything, that it would always be the same old Lions. But this team, our team, has a new identity, defined and expressed by the crazy head coach,
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes, I will beat your ass.
led by the QB that nobody thought was good. Motor City Mania is in full swing and ready to start. So join the show and be prepared for kneecap biting, because Motor City Mania starts right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I've got my live pals with me. I got DC8091. I've got Big West Kivnan. We're going to have some others that are going to be popping in here a little bit later. But holy shit, what a freaking game. Man, does that ever make you want to drink?
Yes, it does.
I'm just, dude, I don't know about anybody else, but when I was doing my live stream for the actual game, I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, what in the hell is this? This is not at all what I was expecting when I turned on my television today to watch the Lions play. Because I'm like, man, we should just stomp a mud hole in the Bears. And it was the exact opposite. It was a competitive game. I'm just like, dude, did somebody like not get the right memo here where the script's reversed somewhere? Like, what the hell's going on here? So, man, that was just, dude, that was fucking crazy. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but geez Louise.
Well, you know what? The paint was peeling off the walls of my room from the words coming out of my mouth. That's for fucking sure. It was ugly. I mean, we played like shit for 56 minutes and played good for the last 4, and somehow we got a win.
Which is not typical Lions football.
No.
Well, what I would say is this game in a poetic or romantic sense was almost a perfect allegory for the Lions. We got screwed by the worst officiating team, one of the worst I have ever seen. And that's saying a lot as a Lions fan.
Yeah,
everything went wrong for us. I mean, 2 freak interceptions led to another interception. And why who was it? Reynolds who was running?
Reynolds.
Johnson. Yeah, Greg Reynolds. Yeah, why he was returning kicks, and then that was a hell of a play to knock the ball out. But then that fumble, and one thing after another, it's, years ago or last year even, we would have lost this game.
Probably.
I mean, this is a cliche Lions game, and we came back and blew their doors off in the last 4 minutes.
Well, yeah. I agree. I mean, like you said, this was a game where virtually damn near everything went wrong. And as Wes highlighted, like for the first 56 minutes, we could virtually do nothing right. And then for the last 4 minutes, somehow, kind of like pulling a rabbit out of our ass, we somehow win the game. And it's just like, okay, I guess a win is a win, but damn, I don't want to have that every fucking week. I thought the heart attack kitties were like 10 years ago.
No shit. There was a flashback to that.
Exactly. But
well, I could add one comment to that.
Okay.
MCDC did tell us to wear diapers.
He did.
Okay.
But I don't think he told us to wear filters on our mouths and to not drink. That's
never going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Let's take a look at some of these comments here. Then we'll get into our topics and we'll go from there. And coming into the stage, we have got Jay at his job, Advanced Auto Parts. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I forgot your show is at 6 and not 7. I'm so used to you being on Texas time.
Yeah, that is true because now I've moved from Central Standard Time. I've moved to Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but we'll get there when we get there. So let's take a look at some of these comments really quickly. Nathan Bradley pops in first, says he's loving it as far as the fact that we won. Robin's Nest says this was nuts. Same old Lions lose games they should have won. Brand new Lions are winning games they have every right to lose and should have lost. Wow, what a fight. Travis Nitzberg says that it was too close to call. Tiger Town says it was scripted. Travis Nitzberg says it was a trap game. Robin's Nest says, I blocked Tiger Town in Syndicate Detroit, which is the new channel name for Detroit Lions Syndicate. He changed it after my old channel got taken down as kind of like a preemptive move. He's nothing but a troll. Is he in here trolling too? And he was talking at Travis. Galloping Lake 6 pops in, says, I'm here. Gordon Depressed says, I am here for it. Go Lions. LDV Tennis says, great comeback win. In the end, it looked like we were toying with the Bears, letting them think we were going to win, only to snatch it away. If that's what you call toying, I don't want to toy anymore.
Yeah.
This is not cat and mouse game here. I would much rather we just stomp and break their fucking necks every week, my opinion. Elizabeth Oberlin says, hi, guys. Jeez, 2 weeks in a row. I'll take a win. It was wild and fun at the stadium day. Dude, I can guarantee you this. Those last 4 minutes, that place was probably rocking louder than a rock concert. Gordon Depressed says, got the win. That's all that matters. Galloping Lake 6 says, cherry on top was the Aiden Hutchinson strip sack for a safety. That was sweet.
That was awesome.
Robin's Nest says, we need to talk nothing but bad smack on Ben Johnson's name. San Diego going to need a new coach, and they can't have our Ben Johnson. We're actually going to talk somewhat about that a little bit later in the show, but it's kind of interesting that you would bring that up. Gordon Depressed says, let's go, Motor City Mania. Thank you all. I highly encourage you all to please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet, and any donations you'd like to give as well are highly appreciated and thankful for as well. Facebook user says, oh, man, I went from gloom to happy. I feel guilty because I was pouting. There were a lot of us Lions fans that were pouting in the third quarter. We all thought we were about to get our asses handed to us by the lowly Bears. Facebook user also says, nice win, go Lions. LDB Tennis says, yep, but sort of anticlimactic. The Hutch strip looked so easy. I think at that point, it's like, fuck it, I'm going to make a play happen here somehow. Buckeye in Michigan says, now you can call me Suckeye. I try not to poke fun at the Wolverines till TTUN week. Also, holy shit, Ford Field was rocking at the end. I'm going to say this right now. I'm an MSU fan, but when it comes to Ohio State, I don't care who's playing them. It could be fucking Appalachian State. I still want them to lose. Gordon Depressed says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, my friend. Robin's Nest says, brand new Lions winning games they have no right to win. LDV Tennis says, great teams win the games they're not supposed to win. Same in all sports. Perry Ball says, hey, David and the panel, hope you are having a great day. When we win, I'm always having a great day, regardless of circumstance.
Yep.
Andrew comes in and says, I'm still trying to figure out how we won that game. Join the club, bud. Chuck Osborne says, I understand how it feels. If I had hair, I'd be pulling it out. Robin's Nest says, what a way to end it. Strip sack safety. LDV Tennis says, Operation Keep Ben Johnson. Goff's ulterior motive was to make him look bad for 3 quarters. I don't know about that, but that's an interesting way to go about it if it was true. Andrew Merklinger says, we had no business winning that game. That I will agree with. We should not have won that game. Perry Ball says, Aaron Glenn is proving he needs to be replaced. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I'm going to say this right now. This was one of his better games as a defensive coordinator for some things, but also not good for others. But I'm not going to totally bash Glenn in this one. SW Lion 16 says, Goff played his worst game as a Lion, but in the last 4 minutes, he came through. I mean, most of the things that Goff did weren't even his fault because the tip pass, the receiver running into the DB, he can't control that. Though I will say that one interception over the middle, that was horrible. He didn't even see him there. Braylon Dennis says, SOL Lions would have lost this game, but we didn't. Jerome Lewis says, I'm really considering investing in some blood pressure medication. Zachary Cleary says, I was about to scream my freaking head off, and then suddenly out of nowhere, we pulled off an absolute win. Facebook user says, look, I'm saying this as a coach, granted at an NAIA university. Good teams find ways to win when you play bad. Hey, I played at an NAIA university level, so that didn't matter to me. SW Line 16 says, how about a pacemaker? I'll get one of those in probably about 50, 60 years. Phil Feist says, shocking. Gordon Depress says, 8-2 to end last season and 8-2 to start this season. This is an awesome time to be a Lions fans. Facts. Jerome Lewis says, Jared Goff is still the man. Go Lions. I mean, the fact that he was able to get a game-winning drive, that's true. But again, this was not one of his better games. I'm not going to give Goff a ton of credit, but the fact that he played well when we needed him to, that I will give him credit for.
Did you guys see Goff's interview after the game? He owned it, though. He went out there and said he played like shit for the first 3 quarters of the game. But
oh, yeah, he did.
He owned it.
He owned it. And that's part of the reason I like him so much, because it's like, listen, other quarterbacks might have come up with an excuse, said, "Oh, this wasn't my fault." It's like, no, it's like, listen, I played a shitty game. There's nothing else I can do about it. We still won. I'm not going to piss, moan, and cry about it, but it's like, hey, I got to play better. Lisa Culpa says, I almost took the blame for the loss like the Steelers tied 2 years ago on my birthday weekend. Tafka Day says, it wasn't a huge amount of production for Jamo, but that was a huge TD catch, so maybe we can climb up off his back for a bit. What do y'all say? Hey, I've been a Jamo defender ever since he got into the league, and I've been saying people need to get off that kid's back for an eon.
That TD catch won me $100, so I'm all for it. He was paying 4-1 on anytime touchdown. I put 25 on it.
I was about to say, Perry Ball says that when he thinks the Chargers fire their current head coach, that they'll hire Kellen Moore, they'll promote him to their head coach. Which, I mean, that's not a crazy thought process. A lot of people thought Kellen Moore would get a head coaching job anyway. Let's see here. Larry Hansen says, "Yeah, it was ugly, but I'll take it." True that. James Burgess says, "SOL is alive and thriving in the NW of in the northwest end of state of Illinois, and it's now called Bears football, and that's what good teams do to the old Lions." I had to read through that and understand what he was trying to say. Buckeye Michigan says, "Detroit gave Jameson Williams a good touchdown in the rally there in the fourth. While my parlay went 9-3, I predicted a JMO TD, a Gibbs TD, and a Monty TD, and an Amon-Ra touchdown." So you got all of them, actually. James Burgess says, "Wrong. Yes, we should have won because now we are the Red Wings, not the SOL." Oh, boy, you guys are – man, the comments are just going pew, 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 pew. But, all right, so that way we can kind of get to our topics here. Let's get to our first topic so that way we can kind of get off the generic stuff and start getting into the more specific stuff. So, as everyone knows, any part of the comment or any part of the show will be devoted to comments and questions if we can get to them. But here's the first question of the day. DC, you're up first. Who were your biggest winners today from this absolutely just crazy win over the Bears? What do you got?
I'd say Hutch, Branch, and Sorsdal.
All right,
He
fair enough.
Put him really well at the guard. Losers, I'm going to say.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
We're winners, sorry.
Yeah. And coming to the stage, we've got Big Dan as well. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm sure. How buzzed are you right now?
I'm actually just opening my first one here. So
So you're behind both DC and Big West at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So, Big Dan, I'll just rephrase the question for when it's your turn. We're talking about biggest winners from today's crazy win for the Lions. Next whip in the docket was Big West. Who are your biggest winners for the Lions today?
Biggest winners are Amon-Ra for catching everything thrown near him, Jamo for that touchdown that won me $100, and Hutch for that punt. I didn't know he could punt. That was an outstanding punt after the safety.
All right, fair enough. I love it. Short, simple, to the point. What about you, Big Dan? Who are your winners from today's game for the Lions?
I'd say the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery for sticking the dagger in his former team, and then Aiden Hutchinson for that sack on defense that resulted in the safety, or the forced fumble, I should say. But, yeah.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. What about you, Jay? Who are your biggest winners from today's game for the Lions?
I got David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamo. He stepped up real big today. Hutch at the end of that game. And pretty much about it that I can think of.
All right, fair enough.
Branch,
fair enough.
I'm sorry, Brian Branch, too, because I feel like he should have had that INT, but it's all good.
He should have. That was one he could have definitely got his hands on. So here's what I'm going to say. Most of the names you guys gave, I agree with. I agree that Amon-Ra St. Brown is a winner. I agree that David Montgomery is a winner. The fact that he got the game-winning touchdown against his former team, that was absolutely a beautiful work of art. Jamo's a winner. Brian Branch is a winner. Aiden Hutchinson is a winner. But there are two names I'm going to add that nobody else added. I'm also going to add Alex Anzalone. That dude fucking covered. Yep. He tackled. He was all over the damn place. That dude absolutely earned his new contract today, bar none. So Alex Anzalone, definitely a winner in my book. Now,
absolutely.
The other guy I'm going to throw in here, only because of what happened over the last 4 minutes, is Jared Goff. And here's why I'm going to say it. I'm not going to say it because of his performance. His performance was mid at best. Why he's a winner is because of his resiliency. After 3 interceptions, most quarterbacks, they're going to fucking close up shop. They're going to get frazzled. They're going to just give up. Goff went out there and said, okay, we still got a chance to win. We're still going to try to win. So rather than closing up shop, I give him I'm going to say this, an honorable mention, if you will, for standing tall, being resilient, being the leader that we needed him to be, and going out there. I'm not saying he's a winner for his performance. I'm saying he's a winner because of how he performed as a leader. That's how I'm putting that. Because I know that sounds a little bit weird, but that's just me spitballing it.
Honorable mention to Lee McNeil, too. He's got another sack today. That's 5 for the year now.
I was about to say, he's got 5. Hutchinson now has 5.5. I mean, Twinkle Toes has just been absolutely amazing. I love him. Holy crap, we got a lot of comments here. Oh, boy, we got like 30 of them.
I don't think you can read everyone. Pick and choose the good ones.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do.
How about that practice squad elevation, that Bohannon guy or Bohanna? He made a couple of tackles and a tackle for a loss in his first game.
I was impressed with him. The guy we picked up from the Cowboys, he did pretty well.
Yeah, all he has to do is stand there. He weighs like 360. He takes up a lot of space.
And coming to the stage, we also have Chris. How's it going, buddy?
Chris.
Man, I don't even know what to say, bro.
That's pretty much what everybody's saying here. We're going to take a look at some of these comments, and then I'll get your answer here really quickly. Okay. So Braylon Dennis says his winners for today, Monty, J-Mo, Hutch, and Branch. Soda Pop Soden agrees. I like this one. Chadrick Simpson says Clunchinson.
Nice.
Perry Ball says the Sun God, J-Mo, and David Montgomery. Lisa Culpa says Monty, Hutch, and J-Mo. Let's see here. And then Braylon Dennis actually said exactly what you just said. DC Bohanna played pretty decent too. Let's see here. Peter Jabatak says Goff showed us a heck lot more of what he is. He's this dirty comeback win than he could have with a clean, perfect game. Dude's a baller, which is kind of along the lines I was going with here. Tafka Day says, we have a punter? LOL. With all these scoring drives, go for it on 4th downs. I kind of forgot. I mean, the only time we really ever see Jack Fox anymore is on kickoffs because he's the primary kickoff kicker.
Well, he punted twice today. Twice.
Yeah, and one of them was a fucking booming punt. Like that thing almost went the full field.
Well, he punted twice and Hutch punted once after the safety.
Yeah.
George Vanderveen says, please stop the unnecessary profanity. Dude, do you not know what show you're on right now? This is the profanity-laden show. If you don't want profanity, you have to go to my pre-recorded show. This is the one where
this is
the show where we let adults adult. This is the rated R, do not let your kids watch kind of show. Let's see here.
Watch, you're a bad fucking parent.
I'm just going to put it up there because if I don't, this guy's just going to keep going on. But Tiger Town says, Dave, it was scripted. Just be honest about it, guys. I don't care if it was scripted or not. I don't really believe in the whole scripted theory because honestly, there's no way in hell you could write a script like what happened at the end of the game there. That was just beyond crazy.
Yeah, if it was scripted, we didn't land on the moon either. Get serious.
I was about to say, like, if the NFL is scripted like what you're saying, we didn't land on the moon. Freaking, there's still gold in Fort Knox. I mean, all the conspiracy theories that have ever existed pretty much all of a sudden become true. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in most of them because there's a reason why they're conspiracy theories.
Well, the flat Earth does have some credit.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Totally. All the bad penalty calls went against Detroit. So if it was scripted, why would that happen? How many times did the Bears get a 1st down when we stopped them on 3rd down because of a 5-yard illegal contact penalty? Come on.
All right. So with that having been said, I'll put this in here. Justin Walker says, "Where are the JMO haters at now?" Oh, they're kind of ducking for cover a little bit.
I mean, the last few games, even when he's not making catches, he's been a hell of a blocker.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
That's one of the things that's impressed me about him is that even when he's not making plays catching the ball, he still goes out there and he makes excellent blocking plays.
Yeah.
It goes back to training camp when Ben Johnson said, no block, no rock.
Exactly. Okay. So Braylon Dennis asks, do you have moderators, Dave? I used to have moderators set up for my old show. I don't know if I've actually officially done it on this one yet. I'd have to I'd have to figure that out either through YouTube or something. I'll figure it out later, but right now I don't know how to do it. But if you want to become a moderator, you can. Where was I? Oh, yes, that's right. Chris, question that I am going to ask you, I asked everybody else, who were your biggest winners from the Detroit Lions in today's victory over the Bears?
Well, I'm going to say Demo because he a running back. I was a running back. And I'm going to say J-Mo. It looked like he caught that like a grown man. And then I want to say Hutch with the crazy safety he had. So those my winners.
Okay. Again, for the most part, the way I look at it is a very, very simple one. I mean, I love the fact that we had players that stepped up. They made plays, especially when things looked at their bleakest, especially when things looked at their worst. Everybody that needed to step up and make plays when they absolutely had to be made, they did what they had to do. So for me, that is the mark of a good team, that despite when things are not going your way, you still find a way to win. So those are the winners, as always. Well, as now we're going to flip on the opposite side of this coin, and we're going to go to this question. So, who are your biggest losers from the game that the Lions pulled out from this victory over the Bears? So, since DC was up first, that means Jay's going to be up first. So, Jay, who are your biggest losers from today?
I'm going to have to go with Jerry Jacobs for fucking up that third down pass. He kind of, I mean, I know it was a mix-up, like, of miscommunication. He ran into Jack Campbell, and he got open for that little pass. So that one, Will Harris, just because anytime he's on the field is not good for
Will Harris does not get any love here whatsoever.
Other than that, I mean, Jared Goff, just because them 3 interceptions, I mean, I know some of them aren't his fault, and, like, you know, but that last one, it kind of looks like he just threw it right to the guy, like, I don't know if it was just like miscommunication or something, but he took ownership of it, which I do respect and I do like. But we can't have 3 turnovers. I mean, this is a garbage team. We do this against Dallas, we're not coming back.
All right, fair enough. I respect it. What about you, Dan? Who are your losers from today's game for the Lions?
Jack Campbell struggled a little bit. Will Harris and a lot of our other defenders, mainly the secondary as well. It seemed like Chicago just marched up and field with the ease in the first half and most of the game. And I just wasn't impressed with the defense today for the most part.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Chris, what do you got? Who are your biggest losers from today's game?
3 of them. Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Glenn.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm cool with that. What do you got, Wes? Who are your biggest losers from today?
Well, I hate to say it, but Goff for the 3 picks, and he almost threw 2 other ones that could have been picks. That one just before Detroit got a touchdown where the guy stepped in front and he was gone if he got it. It would have picked 6.
Yep,
and Aaron Glenn, because he has no idea how to strategize against a mobile quarterback. He's proven it every time we play one. Until the last 5 minutes when we started blitzing and getting some pressure on him, he was just this idea of surrounding him and trying to keep him in the pocket. It doesn't fucking work. Give it up, man. Just give it up. Just send a couple of guys that are quicker to blitz. Like keep Hutch and the other guys back. Send some safeties or corners, somebody who's quick. Our linebacker, send somebody else to blitz like Anzalone. And then maybe you can get him. You know, you won't run by him because obviously a big guy can't tackle a guy like Justin Fields. He's too elusive. You got to just play it smarter. He has no idea how to do that. At the end of the game, he did improve in the last 5 minutes. I'll give him some credit. And the third one, I'd say it's our entire defense because we played like dog shits for 56 minutes. And then we played good at the end, and somehow we won. So those are my 3 losers.
No, I can understand where you're coming from, Wes. Definitely can respect what you're saying. What about you, DC? Who would your biggest losers from today's game be for the Lions, despite the loss?
First I'll say the officiating crew.
Got that backwards.
I'm going to say the officiating crew because they flat out sucked. They were just, oh my God. I don't know how they're actually a crew in the NFL. Second, I'll join the Aaron Glenn part. He has got to learn how to cover defenses and learn how people are attacking his scheme, or at least in lack of adjustments. And third, I'm going to go ahead and say Ben Johnson. Up until those first 3 quarters, the Bears had us figured out. Absolutely. And they were stopping us, and he was doing nothing to get around it until the end there, when he could open up the playbook and go madman. But in terms of clock possession and keeping control of the clock, I mean, it was like Baltimore 2.0. Actually, I think the Bears just watched the Baltimore game and took what they did.
I agree. It seems like we were only good in the 2-minute drill. You're right. The rest of the game, we were just, I don't know what the fuck we were doing out there.
Exactly.
Well, here's what I'm going to say from all this. So I'm probably going to actually shock some people with this, but here's what I'm going to say. As far as losers are concerned, again, I'm going to kind of double dip here. I am going to say Jared Goff is a loser because, let's be fair here, this is arguably one of the worst games we've seen out of Goff in a while. And despite the fact it was one of his worst ones, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I mean, he had 3 interceptions, that's bad, but he was able to come back with 2 touchdowns, had composure, had leadership towards the end. The thing about it that I don't like from Goff is that of the 3 interceptions, 2 of them weren't really his fault. One got tipped at the line. The other one, Laporta ran into the DB. Goff can't control that. That's kind of out of his hands. But the one that kind of bugs me the most is the second one. We're right over the damn middle. Goff himself said it, and he took ownership, like everyone's pointed out. Goff said it. He did not even see the linebacker who stepped into the middle lane and picked him off. And it's like, listen, Goff, I love you. You're a great quarterback, but that is one of those things that you have got to pay attention to. You have to see that guy over the middle because it's like, listen, those are throws that will kill us in the wrong time. So that's why I'm also going to throw him in the loser category, opposite of throwing him in the winner category, because there was things I liked about it and there were things I didn't like about it.
And the Bears DBs dropped 2 other ones too. So I mean, it could have been worse. Too.
But again, as the saying goes, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So I'm not going to go as bad on the ones that almost were. I mean, I know what you're getting at, Wes, but for me, it's like, listen, I'm going to stick to what actually did result on the field. But other losers I thought was, and the only reason I'm going to throw him in here is Sam Laporta, because Sam Laporta has been doing so great over the last couple of weeks. And he kind of just disappeared today. Like, this was the one game where it was like, listen, we kind of needed him to show out, and he didn't really show out until the last couple of minutes. And other than the freaking 2-point conversion that he had, he really didn't do much of anything. So that kind of puts me in the loser category for him. For me, another guy that I thought really didn't do well was, again, I'm just going to probably go with what everybody else said. It was either Will Harris or Jerry Jacobs, because it's like, listen, the only real threats that really the Bears have is DJ Moore. Like, obviously they have Darnell Mooney and obviously they have Cole Kmet, but it's like freaking DJ Moore is the only serious threat they have at wide receiver. And it's like, we let freaking Justin Fields, a quarterback who has not played in 4 months and who is still nursing a right thumb injury, which is very, very crucial to being able to throw a pass. He practically threw all over us with whatever he wanted to do. There really wasn't a point where it felt like Justin Fields was out of control of the offense. And I'm just like, listen, Justin Fields is not the greatest quarterback in the world. Like, you have to stop him. And we couldn't stop him on the ground or through the air.
I think their first drive of the game, when they got the ball first, it only took them 5 plays to score.
Something like that. It just, to me, it was just like, listen, it's like, you've got to find a way to limit players like Justin Fields. I understand Justin Fields is a dual threat quarterback, but it's like, if you can't stop him throwing, good luck trying to stop him running. And think about it this way, folks. Justin Fields was the leading rusher for the Bears. Oh my God, shocker. Not really. Nope. He had over 100 rushing yards as the quarterback. So it's like, listen, you couldn't stop him on the ground. You couldn't stop him through the air. So what the fuck was your game plan?
Well, in fairness to our secondary, our pass rush was non-existent for the first 56 fucking minutes. I mean, he had 10 seconds to throw sometimes. I mean, they're just standing back. Maybe that's strategy. I don't know. I'm not inside the room where they make these plans up, but it seemed like we were just staying at the line and waiting for Fields to throw the ball. You can't do that, man. You got to get in there and try to get him. Even though, like I said, send in smaller, faster guys who he won't be able to elude, but you can't just stand back like that. It doesn't work.
No, and I agree. It just, again, for me, I'm just getting tired of the fact that, here's the thing. Aaron Glenn knows that we're going to be playing mobile quarterbacks. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much time he gets to prepare. It doesn't matter what player personnel he has. He still cannot figure out a way to stop mobile quarterbacks, whether it's trying to stop them on the ground or through the air. And it's like, dude, it's like, you've just got to find a way to get pressure on them. Don't try and pinch them. Don't try and force them outside or anything like that. Just bring mother flipping pressure. Get in their face. Make them uncomfortable. That will stop a quarterback any day of the week.
Absolutely. I agree.
So that for me is where I'm gonna let it go as far as that's concerned. Let's take a look at some of these comments here really quickly. Chuck Osborne says his loser, Aaron Glenn. Bus driver Brent says losers, safety play, yet another game in like the last 8. They have had let receivers get behind them. Let's see. Big M says AG is the loser, still can't contain a mobile quarterback. Steve O'Baby says, Dave, you know why I respect Goff? Jared Goff does in these press conferences. He said that even though he's happy that they're 8-2. And I mean, you have to be realistic here. Goff had the perfect answer when the reporters were like, oh, well, how do you guys feel like what you guys have done? It's like, we haven't done anything. We've just won 8 out of 10 games. That's it. It's like, you haven't done shit yet. Perry Ball says that Alex Anzalone is having a great year. That is true. SW Line 16 says they did hold the Bears to 4 field goals, though. Yeah, they did hold them to 4 field goals, but the point of the matter is that we needed to have stopped them altogether.
Yeah, we did limit the damage on some of the turnovers. I'll give them credit for that. But
that is
Chicago
true.
also shot themselves in the foot a lot in that game, especially late.
That is true.
Well,
Steve, go ahead, Wes.
I was going to say one thing I like to say about the end of the game there. The Bears were who we thought they were.
Yeah.
That's all that mattered. Okay.
That is true. Steve O'Baby says, I'm sorry, guys, but the biggest losers in my mind is the Lions defense. How the hell are they going to compete with the Eagles? That's a very valid point because the Eagles have more talent, in my opinion, than what the Ravens did. And the Ravens absolutely stomped a mud hole in us. Jalen Hurts is better than Justin Fields, and they've got talent all over that offense. So for me, it's like, listen, if we do not figure out how to stop mobile quarterbacks, we will never, even if we go deep into the playoffs, we will never get past the NFC Conference Championship game unless some other team takes out the Eagles or Jalen Hurts just absolutely craps the bed.
Well, I was about to say, I got the answer to that, y'all. Tell Aaron Glenn's ass to stop making every position a cornerback. If they're a linebacker, treat them as such. If they're a defensive line, treat them as such. If they're a cornerback, treat them as such. Do not make everybody a cornerback to cover, to make Justin try to scramble, and he's not going to do it. And basically, it's a copycat defense. So whatever that the previous team did, like the Chargers, the Bears looking at that. So that's how they're able to tear us apart. It's a copycat league.
No, and I understand that. I get what you're saying, Chris. It's just one of those things where, for me, the problem is that you have got to find a way to do it on a much more consistent basis. So I agree with you. First, you have to take what other people are doing successfully well, and you have to implement it. But then you have to do it consistently. And that's been my biggest gripe with Aaron Glenn. There's no mother flipping consistency with that man. The only consistency is that he never makes any freaking he makes no adjustments.
None whatsoever.
And I'm like, I can't stand it. It's like, how can you be a professional defensive coordinator and you cannot figure out, okay, this is when I need to make an adjustment because what I'm clearly game planning is not freaking working. It's like, it's not that hard to figure out, man.
Right. And on top of that, to piggyback off that, because I also play corner sometimes on defense, that's how I'm actually able to catch him. He's having everybody in coverage, and everybody don't need to be in coverage because how you going to put pressure on the quarterback when everybody's in coverage? That's stupid.
Exactly. You got to send more than 4 guys sometimes.
Absolutely.
The 5th guy has to be somebody that is quick. You got to send like a safety or corner, somebody like that, that can get in there, and somebody who they don't know is coming.
Right, but see, he don't like spies. That's what he says. So that's another X.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna say this right now. For Braylon, I was able to figure out how to put moderators into the chat. Braylon, I've made you a moderator. Steve O'Baby, I've made a moderator. SW Lion 16, I've made a moderator. So I have some moderators in now, so that way you guys can first and foremost make sure bots don't take over the chat. Make sure people are, for the most part, playing nice. I mean, obviously we're allowed to be adults here, but let's not go freaking too crazy about this. So anyway, with that having been said, let's take a look at some of these other comments here. Steve O'Baby says, how are they going to win the Super Bowl with a bad defense? They won't. They won't. I've said this before on Facebook because somebody once asked the question, do you think the Lions could go to the Super Bowl? And I'm like, not with our defense, we can't. Our offense maybe, but our defense, we can't do anything with that defense. It's bad.
Not unless shit gets cleaned up.
Unless this defense gets cleaned up and gets better, I mean, we'll make the playoffs, obviously, but we're going to face good teams in the playoffs. We won't perform so well unless they fix that defense.
I've said it before.
James Houston comes back and starts sacking people like last year, maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I already expect that James Houston and CD Deuce, they will be back in time for the playoffs. They actually might be back for a couple of the late games into the year, like maybe one or two of them. But here's what I will say. One way or the other, I fully expect the Lions are going to win a playoff game because we're going to probably finish with the number 2 seed, which means we're going to get matched up against the number 7 seed, which currently right now is the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll be at home. So that gives us an advantageous situation. But past that, I don't know what's going to happen when we get to the divisional round because while we'll still have home field advantage as the number 2 seed, who are we going to face at that second game in the division? Probably a much better team than the Vikings if the playoffs were to start today. So it's like, listen, I think we can win one playoff game. But if we cannot, as everybody has said in this panel, figure out how to get that defense better to play against much more top-end talent, we will not go much further than the divisional round.
Yeah, I was about to say on top of that, I'm trying to remember the backup quarterback name for Minnesota. What's his name? Yeah, Dobbs.
Yeah, and they traded for him. Yeah. They traded for him from the Cardinals.
Did you guys notice that Josh Dobbs looks like Little Bill? Remember that cartoon Bill Cosby did, Little Bill? He looks exactly like Josh Dobbs.
I remember that one.
Yeah, but I was about to say on top of that, I looked at some of his highlights, even with some of the teams that he played before he got to Minnesota. The guy's a multiple quarterback. So we got Dak Prescott and him to worry about because
Josh
they're both
Dobbs
mobile.
Justin Fields 2.0. He doesn't throw it much, but he can scramble.
When Minnesota acquired Josh Dobbs in a trade, I seen on Facebook a handful of Vikings fans shaving their eyebrows to support Josh Dobbs. I thought that was kind of funny.
Give them credit. I'll give them credit for doing that. We actually have a question here for the panel from one of the commentators. They say, towards the panel, what are your feelings on Josh Pascal so far? I'm just going to say what mine is. I haven't seen enough to make a full analysis, but I'll say this. From what I have seen, he has the talent. He has the potential. Have emphasis on that word, potential, to do something because he's made a lot of really good plays here and there.
I think he can set the edge and stop the run. I don't think he'll ever be a pass rusher.
Right.
All right.
When he shows up big. I'll give him that.
Yeah, that is true.
When he shows up, his problem is he's always hurt. So
Ken O says Branch is great at timing his blitzes. A sure tackler, he needs to be used in that way on these mobile QBs more often. I totally 100%.
That's what I said the whole show. We got to set safeties and corners on blitzes.
Who remembers that one blitz where he come right off the freaking left tackle edge and he got that running back behind the line for 6 yards? I was like,
he gets there and he doesn't miss tackles. He gets there, he would get fields. He gets there. He doesn't miss.
Exactly. James Burgess says, teaching moment. Why didn't the Bears right tackle fall on the ball? I know Hutch pushed him, but he had a moment to just fall on and smother the ball. The reason why is because you have to think about it. That right tackle is probably like, 6'8", 6'9", like 300 pounds. That dude's not just going to fall on something and probably get it. Because here's the thing. Those footballs are pure leather. Those things squirm around and go all over the place. Even if he had fallen on it, it probably would have come out the back end like a freaking bullet.
And then
he would have broke it
for a touchdown instead. Yeah, exactly. But
and I guarantee you, he didn't try to kick it. He was trying to get to a position where he could fall on it.
If you watch the replay, Hutch pushed him to make him kick it. That's what happened.
Yep.
Rush gave him a shove right at the right time, and he accidentally kicked it. Like it hit his leg.
How the hell?
The best
How
way
the
I
hell
can
Hutch do that?
the best way I can describe it is remember that play in the 2015 Super Bowl between the Panthers and the Broncos where freaking Von Miller got that strip fumble off of Cam Newton towards the end of the end zone? That's kind of a similar play concept in my mind. Let's see here. Tiger Town says Levi Onwuzurike is a bust. I mean, I wouldn't call him a bust yet, but he's definitely teetering on that one because we just really haven't seen much of him. He's always injured, whether it's been his back, his hip, or God knows whatever else. Bobby Klobler says, I heard a rumor that Gronk was thinking of signing a contract with the Lions for the remainder of the season. That's bogus. It's the same kind of rumor that also said that freaking TJ Watt could come out of retirement to play for us. That's also not happening either.
Oh, you mean JJ?
Oh, JJ Watt. He was on, I think it was on the show with the punter, Pat McAfee, and he's like, oh, yeah, the Lions are doing really good. And everyone started thinking, well, is he saying he might come? No, he's not coming out of retirement. He's totally content with retirement.
Right. They basically, that was a gaslight, and he ain't go for it.
Yep. Perry Ball says the Lions should have won big. I agree, and we will talk about that later. Justin Walker says, at this point of the Brad Holmes draft picks from 2021 to now, what's your guys' grades on them since he was questioned from his last draft class? If I'm grading every single draft class and putting that grade comprehensively together, I would say, in my honest opinion, A-. And here's the reason why I would say that, because you have to think about it. Freaking take a look at all of the work that's been put in since day one. You get freaking Penei Sewell. That dude is an A-plus prospect. Amon-Ra St. Brown, A-plus prospect. Freaking Ali McNeil, a great prospect. I'd say he's either a high B or a low A. And you start taking a look at all these other guys, Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta. I mean, he's hit on more than he's missed. Yes, you could say that the miss on Levi Onwuzurike, it's a partial miss on freaking Josh Pascal. You're still trying to figure out things with Jamo, but it's like, listen, for all the times that Brad Holmes has gone to bat, I'm pretty still satisfied with what he's done as a GM, in my opinion.
Yeah, the misses he's had were mostly due to the players are injured all the time. The ones he's
right.
missed on. He pretty much, if those guys were healthy, they wouldn't have been misses either. But that's going to happen. You gamble sometimes. That's why you get those guys late, because you take a chance they can get healthy, and it didn't work out. It doesn't always work out. Yeah,
that's the case. And it kind of goes back to what Jared Goff was talking about earlier with the interceptions. It's part of doing business. You're not going to hit on every single pick. It's just not going to happen. Bobby Klobler says, what's Jay doing, stocking shelves? Well, I don't think he's stocking shelves. I think he's going back to get parts because he's working at Advanced AutoZone. So that's what he's doing. Dom the Bandit says, this game should have been a blowout, but we're barely squeaking by with a win. People shouldn't be this excited. We're going to struggle versus teams like the Vikings, Cowboys, and Saints. Okay, there's a plausibility with what you're saying, Dom, but at the same time, I do refer you back to a point of what I was trying to say during my previous live stream. Really good teams are sometimes going to have off games. They're going to have off days. And it's not always going to be perfect every single game. There's going to be times where they don't play very well. So far, if you really think about it, the Lions have only had 2 games really this year where they've really not played very well. And of those 2, they've won 1 and lost 1. And I'm referring to the Ravens game and this game. So for me, it's like, I'm not too worried about it. Again, I think that the Lions do need to figure some stuff out, especially if they want to be more successful towards the end of the year. But we're 8-2 for a reason. So that's just
mainly just need to fix the defense, I think. But yeah,
I agree. Tafka says the Vikes fans should have shaved their entire bodies because Dobbs legit has whatever the thunder that is.
Alopecia.
Yeah. That's why he can't grow hair. Yeah.
Yeah, unlike whatever Jada claims to have with her stubble head. Oh wow, damn! now we're throwing shots across the bow. Let's see here. Patty Grimes says every team has up and down games. Exactly what I was saying. Lions Mania pops in and says, "What's up, David? Not much, man. Just enjoying the show so far." Perry Ball says, "I think we'll beat the Saints. Winston is QB for them. I believe it will beat them as well." Honestly, the way I look at it is this. The only game that I'm seriously worried about is the Cowboys game. That's the only game where I'm like, okay, we're in for trouble.
I'm not underestimating Minnesota. I think we could split
I
with
was just
them
about to
because
say that.
we haven't won in U.S. Bank Stadium in forever. So
I agree we could, but I'm just simply saying there's a much better likelihood, there's a much better probability we could sweep the Vikings than we could beat the Cowboys. I think that our chances of beating the Cowboys are like 15% or less. Like everything would have to go right for us and everything would have to go wrong for the Cowboys. That's how much of that game I already am like, no, we're probably not going to win. I've already mentally prepared myself for that one. Bobby Klobler one says, I heard Bob Sager is under contract to sing the national anthem for the Lions playoff home game. That would be interesting. Bus driver Brent says, but this game, like the Ravens games, was bad on all three levels. Difference is the Bears are a bad team. That is true. But again, you still have to find ways to win because I'll say this right now. Some people might laugh. Some people might agree with me. NFL teams are still better than any other football team you're going to find. Doesn't matter if it's semi-pro, doesn't matter if it's college. They're still NFL teams for a reason. Let's see here. Don the Bandit says Goff did pull through at the end. He shook off the 3 picks and came clutch at the end. True. Lions Mania says hell of a win, bro. I thought they were going to blow that game, man. As much as Jared Goff underperformed, he made up for it. I agree. LDV Tennis says Stafford was clobbered. I'm not watching that game, but I'm pretty confident you're right. I'm pretty confident you're right.
the Packers had to come back to win. Jordan Love threw a game-winning touchdown pass at the end there, but
Yeah.
Either way, the way I look at it is a very simple one, is that, you know what? Hey, a win is a win. Would I have preferred that we wouldn't have had to go through all the trouble we would have had to get the win? Absolutely. But for me, it's like, I'm just going to stick with what we've got. We won. We're 8-2. Now we're moving on to the Packers. But that's later on in the show.
Do you guys think there's a chance that the defense or a lot of the team underestimated the Bears today, and that could have attributed to some of the struggles?
True.
That's what I was thinking.
I think maybe that could have been the case, but honestly, I'm going to just leave it to a much more simpler explanation. I just think the coaches didn't get the players ready to play.
Yeah, I think the defensive strategy was way off today until the very end.
Yeah.
We started blitzing at the end, and it started working.
Yep. All right, let's move into our next topic of the show, which means DC's back up again. So here we go. DC, here's the question. This game showed that the Lions can win without having to play a perfect game. What does that say to you going forward?
Well, the good side means that we are basically the embodiment of grit. We have good leadership on the field, and with the coaches, they can get it done when it needs to, which is ultimately the bottom thing. The bad thing is getting to that spot and how you get there. That's not something you want to hang your hat on and say, hey, it's no problem. We can play like shit. We're just going to win at the end anyways. No, we got to take care of the other 3 quarters before doing this.
All right. Sorry about that. I was just reading a news report. Apparently Geno Smith is now injured for the Seahawks. He has an elbow injury.
Damn.
So, Big Wes, question now falls to you. Lions showing that they can win without having to play a perfect game. What does it mean to you? What does it say to you?
Well, that may be true if we're playing the fucking Bears, but if we were playing a good team today, we would have got our ass kicked. The Bears, like I said, are who we thought they were. They totally choked at the end. They were the same old Bears. They would look like us about 4 years ago. They just blew that game at the end as much as we won it. They gave it to us. They just folded up in a shell. You could see them shrinking on the sideline. They were just waiting for something bad to happen at the end, and we came back and won, but we didn't deserve to win that game.
True. For the most part, true. All right, Big Dan, what do you think about the Lions finding a way to win without having to play perfect? What does that say to you going forward?
It just shows that, shows me that you can't ever count us out of any game now, although – like we all said earlier, there needs to be significant improvements across defense, but you can't count us out of any game.
I agree. Again, don't count us out and don't take us lightly. So, Chris, what about you? What do you think about the fact the Lions won without having to play perfect? What do you think that says to you?
What that says to me, I mean, we got to stop getting out of these nail biters and show them who we are. And everybody know who we are, so we got to start putting our foot on the gas and keep going instead of doing these nail biters.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. What do you think, Jay? What are your thoughts on the fact that the Lions won without having to play perfect?
I mean, from like last week and this week, it's kind of like what Big West said. Like we just showed that, obviously, like we can beat garbage teams. Chicago wasn't a threat. I just think that was just poor coaching, and guys weren't ready to play, and just a bunch of problems there. And then last week, like with the Chargers, just a bunch of problems. Like you don't want to be in shootout games. You want to, if they want to make a name for themselves and they want to be up there with the top dogs, like we got to start winning games by double digits. Nobody's gonna take us serious if we're not doing that.
All right. I hear what you're saying. Well, here's what I'm going to say to kind of give a little bit of a different perspective. I think that, yes, even though it is the Bears that we just did this against, we have to keep in perspective something here. For 2 straight weeks, we've had fourth quarter comeback victories, game-winning drive victories. So for me, it's like, okay, I understand the Bears aren't the greatest team in the world. They're one of the bottom feeders. The Chargers, kind of a mid-team. But for me, it's like, listen, regardless of the fact that we're home or we're away, we can still find a way to win in tough matchups. Regardless of the fact that, hey, you know what? We've been playing shitty all day, or you know what? We've just been having bad moments here and there where we couldn't score, or we just had a moment where we lapsed. We can still find a way to win a game. And for me, it's like, okay, you have to start somewhere. I always go back to what my dad taught me. It's like, listen, you have to learn how to crawl before you can walk, and you have to learn how to walk before you can run. So if you can start doing against the bad games or the bad teams, that's one way to do it. If you can do it, then you should be, in theory, be able to upgrade yourself to the good team. So that's what I'm taking from it. Maybe I got a little pie in the sky thought process here, but I'm trying to remain somewhat positive and have that kind of glass half full, kind of looking at the silver lining in the cloud mentality. That's what I'm going with. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments. Oh boy. So, Steve O'Baby says, Lions Mania, I don't listen to Woodward Sports anymore. Neither do I.
Neither do I.
Chuck Osborne
Me
says,
neither.
I believe the Lions still have a chance, even though they had an off game today. I think they do too. Again, they just got to clean stuff up. That's the biggest thing for me. James Burgess says, come seeding day, wins all count 1. Okay.
Mhm.
Rich Force says, Dave, back in that fourth quarter, you gave us a scenario for comeback, and General Goff and company stuck it to them. Again, when you get down to those points and like with 4 or 5 minutes left, it's kind of very difficult to not take a look at a scenario and say, okay, this is what could potentially happen. But again, it was like, listen, you got to score. You got to get the ball back quickly. I thought that they were going to try to do an onside kick to get it back quickly, but actually Dan Campbell trusted the defense. The defense surprisingly held the Bears offense to 3 plays and out. And then we went back down and scored again. So it's like, hey, all the same. Let's see here. Patty Grimes says bad times make stronger people or teams. That is true. When you got to go through adversity, you always get better.
I'm done enough
Jason
of that.
says we just didn't show up to play today, and yet we still won. Michael Shremby says, great game. Move on from our mistakes. Prepare for the Packers. I agree. Big M says we better be ready on Thursday for a quick turnaround. I agree. Let's see here. Jody Solomon says it's a fuck them fucking fuckers LOL. Triple F.
Yeah.
Don the Bandit says, how do you feel about Jack Campbell? He was missing tons of tackles today. He's a rookie. He's learning linebacker. He's going to miss tackles.
The ones
That's
he
kinda
missed
how you play.
were against the Bears' elusive quarterback. A lot of people miss against him.
I was about to say,
Here's
there's
a
a
good one,
reason
too.
why he's one of the most elusive players in the league. But yeah, I mean, he missed tackles. Name one linebacker in the history of the sport that never missed tackles. Brian Urlacher missed tackles. Ray Lewis missed tackles. I mean, it's part of the game. I'm not going to hold it over him like, oh, you should have made every tackle you had an opportunity for.
Let's be serious. Justin Fields is hard to fucking tackle. Give the guy some credit.
Exactly.
He's a great running back.
Perry
Yep,
Ball says
true.
we got lucky today. Sometimes good teams get lucky. Yeah, sometimes the ball bounces your way. That's just how it works. Brent says the Lions were playing with their food, or as Big West would say, they were playing with their prey.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Jay Cobb says, can you really blame the defense for having to deal with 3 picks? I think they played decent for turnovers. That's why I said earlier I wasn't going to fully throw Aaron Glenn under the bus, because, like, listen, you've got 4 offensive turnovers you got to deal with, and let's be entirely fair and honest on top of that. Take a look at the time of possession difference between the two. The Bears had 40 minutes with the ball to the Lions only having it about 20 minutes. That means that defense was gassed. And they still, for the most part, did a decent job. That's why I said I'm not going to dog Aaron Glenn as much as I could have. But it's like, listen, there were still elements of that defense that really gave my eyebrow like one of those little like twitches. And it's just like, okay, I'm glad you're able to make it work despite the adversity, but you've got to do something about freaking mobile quarterbacks.
Right. And you guys know this. My main thing against Aaron Glenn has always been his inability to make adjustments when something's not working. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to do a better job at that.
Exactly. Oh, I love this one. James Burgess says, Woodward Sports walks 8 miles for clicks.
Yeah.
Wow.
More than that.
Gordon DePress says, we started this turnaround from below 0. We had to learn how to win games we shouldn't, and now we're learning how to win games we're expected to. Chuck Osborne says, Dave, I agree with you. They still need to clean up and play better ball. Jeremy pops in and says, this was a game where the Lions came out flat, looked awful for 3 quarters. Same old Lions lose this game and quit. And I agree.
Yep.
Yep.
And yes, Jeremy, it is 3 offensive turnovers and 1 on special teams. I'm just simply saying 4 turnovers in general that the defense had to contend with. Let's see here. LAV Tennis says the O picked up the D last week. This week, the D picked up the offense. On good to great teams, it works both ways. Again, complementary football. All right. Let's move to our other topic really quickly here. So, Jay, this one will go for you if you're able to do it. So the topic is Lions turned the ball over 4 times. As Jeremy just said, 3 on offense, 1 on special teams. What do you credit the biggest reason for the Lions being able to still pull out the victory?
The fact that Chicago can't score on offense.
I mean, if you want to use that, I'm cool with it.
I can't say it was the defense because the defense didn't play as good as I wanted to, and I can't say it was the offense because they had nothing to do. So I'm just gonna have to say that Chicago can't score on offense. Like, if we give you the ball 4 times and you can't score, I mean, even their coach said it, and he tried to pull a little Dan Campbell talking about, Justin Fields is gritty and trying to go for it on 4th down. Like, not everybody can be Dan Campbell, but you gotta learn how to score on turnovers. If they would have scored on turnovers, this game would have been completely different.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Chris? What do you think about this? What do you think was the biggest reason why the Lions were able to win despite the 4 turnovers?
I'm just gonna say grit. They never gave up, and they found a way to, just get it. That's what I can say about that one.
Damn right.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Dan? What are your thoughts on this question?
I actually was going to say the exact same thing Chris just said. It was grit. They played overall a bad game on both sides of the ball, but they found a way to win when it counted. So grit.
Absolutely.
All right, Wes, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we played bad on special teams, bad on defense, and bad on offense. But grit don't quit. And we come on and we just played great the last 4 minutes, and we started roaring at the end. And once you hear the roar, it's too fucking late.
Thank you, Nate Burleson.
We stole that game from a
Burleson.
shitty team.
All right, fair enough. What are your thoughts, DC? What do you think?
Dan Campbell, because this not only was grit, but we basically reenacted his entire kneecap biting scenario, and in the end, bit off the knee and kicked the ball out of the end zone to win.
That's about it. Hell of a punt, too.
They took that knee and punted the ball with it.
I mean, I agree. I'm going to say that part of it is the fact that this team is gritty. This team is tough. This team does not quit because it's, again, as you alluded to, DC, and everybody else kind of alluded to, this team has taken the embodiment, has taken the persona of Dan Campbell. It's like, listen, Don't matter how far down we are, don't matter how crappy our day has been going, no matter what adversity we have to deal with, we will still fight you. We will still find a way to win. But I also think part of it is that this team has matured in a sense, because it's like, listen, good to great teams, when they get down or they're dealing with adversity, they do one simple thing. They're like, okay, we're not going to get frazzled. We're not going to get disappointed. We're not going to get down on ourselves. We're going to keep our heads high. We're going to find a way to win. We're going to work through whatever we're dealing with. That's what the great teams do. That's what the mature teams do. If you're a young green team and you have everything going wrong, you will often see players get discouraged. They'll start hanging their heads. They'll have their hands on their hips. They'll start acting like, woe is me, the game's not going for them. Never once saw that with any of the Lions players. They're like, hey, we've been here before. We're just going to deal with it. We're going to roll through it. We're going to find a way to win. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep, it's that, or they have a chip on their shoulder and say, no way we're losing to these bums. And everyone found a higher gear that they didn't have before.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here. Let's take a look. See here. LDV 10. Oh, sorry. That was from earlier. Braylon Dennis says, fuck Woodward Sports. MCM and Lions Syndicate is where it's at. Appreciate the endorsement. LDV Tennis says Geno Smith went out with an injury. Yep, it was an elbow injury. I don't know if it was his right one or his left one. I just know it was an elbow injury. Oh, figured it out. Right arm, heavily bandaged. Perry Ball says, Neil Rule needed to stop yelling and understand that not everyone like a guy telling people he right and everyone else is wrong. Gee, I wonder who normally would like that. Let's see here. Jeremy Ball says they literally scored 20 points on turnovers. Okay. Victor David says the big difference, Lions did not change their demeanor from start to finish. Bears are confused on what to play and became conservative. Jacob Zarnick says Woodward has two good shows with Booner and Maz, and that's it. I wouldn't know because I don't watch any of them.
Yeah, I don't watch it.
Ludo Wesley says run the ball should be the Lions' strength, which it always has been, especially since Dan Campbell got there. Justin Walker says the credit would have to be from Forth and the grit that Campbell has on the team, not the Campbell. James Burgess says pull it out reason. Bears are the SOL. They were terrible starting at 4:13 left to go. Our reasons, Jared Goff, Ben and Dan, Brad, because we are better. The Bears wilted because of us. Okay. LDB Tennis says the thing with Fields is that the coaches do not trust him to make the short throws that could have kept the final throw alive. Only throw on that drive was deep. That is true. But I will say this, Justin Fields did show a different range of throws today. He was throwing it deep. He was throwing it medium. He was throwing it short. I thought he actually did a pretty decent job as a quarterback today. Jeremy Baldwick says, but for 7 minutes, the Lions were the better team. Bears snatched the defeat from the jaws of victory. Man, where have I heard that before? All right, here. Holy thunder of what is going on here? Okay. Braylon Dennis says, we didn't falter. We did not quit. Fight to the end. We've been through the struggle. We've been through hard times, and we persevered. Man, I think I've heard that somewhere too. LDV Tennis says, hit the like button. 108 are watching. I agree. Thank you very much, LDV Tennis. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and do what your friend Braylon did. Give donations. I absolutely encourage you. I'm very appreciative of them. Perry Ball then says at the panel, do you think the Lions go 5-1 in the division? Will they win the NFC North? Yes. The only team right now that's even close to threatening us is the freaking Vikings, and they're 6-4. So they're two games behind us in win total and 2 games behind us in loss total.
I think we go 6-0 in the division this year.
We might. Let's see.
Oh yeah, we're sweeping this division. Fuck that.
Chuck Osborne says Goff had to feel shame. First turnovers. That's why I believe he pushed himself to win this game. Maybe. Antonio Harper says I was at the game and those Bears fans was talking crazy all game. I'm sure they ain't talking crazy now. Dale says we got players that will be coming back from injury in December, primarily James Houston and CJGJ. Antonio Harper says, and I think I was going to leave early that game. Good job. I'm such a strong believer. Not too many of those left. LEV Tennis says, the fans that booed Goff and some of the play calls must feel like fools. I mean, I can understand why they booed, but at the same time, it's like, listen, you have to understand what Lions fans are. They're very impassioned, and quite frankly, they're a little bit fickle. Let's be honest. They're a little fickle.
A little?
I'm trying to be nice. Big M says Minnesota needs to lose tonight. I'm telling you this right now. Once that game starts, I'm probably going to watch that one with the earbud in so that way I can at least keep an ear on it. Bus driver Brent says, last time I gave a donation, I got twin girls. I guarantee you will not get anything like that from me. Not because I'm not generous, but I don't have the right anatomy for it. Chuck Osborne says, a Rams thank you. LA Rams on the interception on Seattle. Oh, well, without freaking who's their backup? The guy that they got from Denver, whatever his name was. LAV Tennis says, I thought Eberflus had a good game plan against the Lions, though. They clogged up the middle passing lane. Same thing the Ravens did against us. Victor David says, see you all on the Packers game on Thanksgiving. Go Lions. Hey, I'm going to say this right now. I will not stream that game live, but I will do the post game live. I'm sorry. I'll watch it live, but I'm not going to stream it live because, hey, it's Thanksgiving. Spend time with the family. That's more important.
Right.
I don't call it Thanksgiving. I call it Fuck the Packers Thursday.
Hey, I'll go with that too.
What time is going to be the post game?
Well, if the game starts at
12:30,
I would say probably same time as normal, probably about 6 o'clock, because since most people don't do Black Friday shopping at stores anymore, don't really have to contend with that anymore. Most everybody does it online now.
Right.
Big M says a lot of babies going to be conceived tonight after that epic win. Braylon Dennis says, aw, no stream? I'm sorry, man. Family takes precedence. I normally I would, but I'm not going to stream a Thanksgiving game when Thanksgiving is the one day of the year most families will actually sit down and eat with each other.
Right.
So I just believe family is more important. I love football and I love my Lions, but family is more important.
Yeah. Thanksgiving is a time when families can argue about politics.
I refuse. I refuse.
Hey, but I don't know about it will reduce how many Christmas presents you need to get.
That is true. That is very true. But I don't talk about politics because I'm very political, but I don't let politics on the show because that is an easy way to end friendships.
This is true.
Hey, I was about to say, if I get a chance to get out there in Detroit, I want plays from all of y'all.
All right. Let's move into our next topic here. DC is up first, so here we go. Lions at 8-2 have their best overall record since 1962. The Lions will go to the playoffs likely, but can an ugly win like this show they can go? That they can go deep in the playoffs? What do you think, DC?
Can we go deep in the playoffs? Yes, I don't know how deep. I mean, 2 wins is probably conceivable.
All right. What do you think, Wes? What are your thoughts on the question?
Well, if we manage to get the bye in the NFC, which is quite possible with our schedule, maybe 2 wins will be all we need to get to the Super Bowl.
I mean, we'll see. What do you think, Big Dan? What are your thoughts?
Well, like we all agreed to earlier, we got to clean some things up on defense, but an ugly win, maybe a game, maybe 2, but you got to clean that defense up.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Chris? What are your thoughts?
Hey, I agree with the panel and Big Dan. We need to improve on this defense tremendously because those are go hard or go home games, and you can't pull no tight ones off in that one. You got to be on your game to at least stay in the game.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Jay? What are your thoughts?
As long as AG is our defensive coordinator, hell no. We're not going to be able to compete with these quarterbacks and teams at the next level. We're not ready.
Oh, my bad, and I approve that message, Jay.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I think that, again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think we, at best, can win 2 playoff games. So here's what I'm saying. I think even though as much as I would love to have that number 1 seed, I actually just did an episode about this not that long ago. In order for the Lions to get the number 1 seed, they can only lose against the Cowboys, and the Eagles would have to lose to the Cowboys and the 49ers to most likely allow the Lions to get that number 1 seed. Here's the thing. while I think that could happen, the likelihood is very slim. So again, I'm banking more on the fact the Lions will be the number 2 seed. At that point, then the Lions will play the number 7 seed in the wild card, which again they'll most likely win. But the thing that I'm confused and a little uncertain about is, okay, who do you then match up with at home in the divisional round? Depending upon the opponent, I think we could win the divisional round and get as far as the conference title game. But past that, I have no confidence because for me, it's like, listen, the further up the ladder you go, the further up the chain you go, the better you have to play. This offense can play to a championship caliber. The defense has proven it can't just yet. So for me, it's like, listen, I'm willing to say we can get as far as the title game. And even that for me is a long shot. I think we'll probably win the wild card. We'll get to the divisional. We'll probably lose there. But if not, the title game is as far as I'm willing to go.
Well, David, are you assuming that Philly is going to beat Kansas City on Monday night then?
I'm assuming that it's going to be a close game.
Because if they lose on Monday night, we're tied with them already.
Well,
and we have a hell of a lot softer schedule than them the rest of the way.
We're tied with them as far as overall record. But the thing of the matter is that if for whatever reason the Eagles only lose one more game, because I'm assuming the Lions are probably going to finish 14-3. But if the Eagles finish 14-3, at that point, then it's a tiebreaker, which then means you go to the conference games.
Yeah, well, Detroit's only lost one conference game this year to Seattle.
Yeah, that's true. But the Eagles haven't lost any yet. So they would have to lose 2 in order for us to break them in the tiebreaker. That's why I'm saying it gets a little bit more complicated once you start going into the numbers and the rules. That's why I say, could the Lions do it? Yeah, they could. But they need a lot of things to break their way. So that's why I'm banking more on us getting the number 2 seed than the number 1 seed. All right, let's take a look-see here. Braylon Dennis says respectable for wanting to spend time with family over football. Chuck Osborne says the backup quarterback for Seattle is Locke. That's right, Drew Locke. I forgot about him. Lots of Pyro says 1-0 Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus Montreal Alouettes is the 110th CFL Grey Cup. 1 minute left in the first quarter. That's all I got to say because I don't know shit about hockey except the Red Wings.
I'm Canadian and I don't watch fucking CFL, so there you go. I know who's in the game, and that's about it.
Keep a few of them, but throw most of them away.
Perry Ball says the Thanksgiving game will be on CBS, Fox, NBC, or just NFL Network. If I had to take a guess, probably Fox.
Yeah.
Yep.
Patty Grimes says David Wright spent time with family. Jay Cobb says realistically, how much better do you think the Lions will be when injured players come back? Will they be Super Bowl contenders? No, not unless James Houston and CD Deuce just absolutely elevate the totality of the defense in general. I fully expect that James Houston coming back will give us extra pressure off the edge, and having CD Deuce will give us some leadership. But it's like, listen. The main problem for me is still Aaron Glenn. Can he become more consistent as a game planner, as a play caller? If that can be the case, then yeah, I think we could. But I just don't see it happening.
Well, I'll say this. If CD Deuce come back, I know he probably going to say fuck Aaron Glenn like he did every game and watch CD Deuce work just like everybody else and just ignore that dude. Take this his arrogant son of a man. Let me
and
shut
coming
up.
into the stage is Jeremy, Smoking Jeremy B. How's it going, buddy?
JB.
Fantastic.
JB.
My voice is almost gone from screaming the fight song for every touchdown.
Forward down the field.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like fun. So, Jeremy, since you just popped in here, I'm going to ask the question I was asking everybody else. I'm pretty sure you probably heard it, but here we go. Lions 8-2, best overall record since 62. Lions will go to the playoffs likely, but do you think that because of this ugly win, they could show that they could go deep into the playoffs? What's your thoughts?
It shows more grit than people think. And can they make a deep run in the playoffs? Possibly. There is some things to clean up. We got to get better at getting pressure. We got to get better at creating turnovers for our defense against their off. And the Thanksgiving game, yes, it's on Fox.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured. Usually the Thanksgiving games are aired on Fox. Usually they are.
Yeah,
Or they're
Fox
on YouTube
has the
TV.
12:30 slot for sure. That's the I think they
Well,
own the rights to that.
YouTube TV has the right for NFL Sunday Ticket.
Well, yeah, if you
Well, that's
play
what I mean. You have Sunday Ticket, you have all the games.
if you have some kind of Sunday Ticket or some kind of you have all the games.
Or
Anyway.
if you have NFLHDTV.net, which is way cheaper than Sunday Ticket.
That's true. I mean, there's many ways to get around it all. There's many ways. It just depends on which way you want to go. So, all right, here. Let us see here. I think that was the end of that topic, if I am correct. So then we'll move on to the next one here. And since Jeremy just got in, I'm going to have him start this one. So here we go. This topic is, despite the defense making key stops during the game and ending the game with a safety, the same issue of handling mobile quarterbacks has reared its ugly head again. What must the Lions do to get better at stopping mobile quarterbacks, in your opinion, Jeremy?
We got to start spying those quarterbacks. There is no choice. Glenn has to pull his head out of his ass, made with a loud popping sound. Maybe we need to do to him what they did to J-Mo, not block Max Crosby and let him hit Aaron Glenn so hard his hat pops off.
I mean, that's one idea. I guarantee you some Lions fans would probably get some satisfaction out of that.
Because think about this, and I've said this ever since that game. J-Mo has not dropped the football since they didn't block Crosby on that end around and he got laid out and his helmet popped off. I said that was his head coming out of his ass so fast the chin strap couldn't hold the helmet.
And he actually made a really good catch over the middle where he got thwopped.
Yeah, for a first down. He had 2 catches, 1 first down, 1 touchdown.
And that's the way to do it. All right, good comment. Good comment, Jeremy. What do you think, Jay? What do you think that Aaron Glenn and the Lions defense has got to do to stop these mobile quarterbacks, or at least better contain them, so to speak? I think Jay is busy. So, Chris, I shall move to you.
I was about to say, if y'all seen that movie Sister Act 2, where they put the I guess the counselor person in the closet.
Actually,
Exactly.
I'll be honest with you. I've seen both of them.
Well,
I've
they
seen
need
both
to lock.
Sister Act 1 and 2.
Well, I was about to say they need to put that sausage in between the doors and don't let them out until the game over.
I mean, that's one way to do it, I suppose. All right,
Is that a euphemism?
Fair enough. What do you think, Big Dan? What is your thoughts on how the Lions need or much better contain these mobile quarterbacks that we keep getting burned by?
Well, like Jeremy just said, they got to pull their head out of their ass, maybe bring some heat, and make those mobile quarterbacks one-dimensional. You know, they're not going to be able to run it all game.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Big West? What are your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I think we need to pray that somebody hires Aaron Glenn as their head coach and we get a 3rd-round comp pick and our problems are solved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, I got to go, guys. Thanks. Have a good time tonight.
Hey, thank you for joining us, Wes. I'm going to say this right now as Wes is going with that comment. You would be surprised how many people keep telling me that they want Aaron Glenn to get a head coaching job somewhere. I have never in my life heard so many people want a defensive coordinator or a coordinator in general to become a head coach somewhere because they are so tired of him being our coach because he just, in their opinion, can't coach worth shit. That to me just is absolutely hilarious. But I digress. What about you, DC? What are your thoughts on this whole topic?
Blitz, stunt, and apply unorthodox pressure to speed up the game and to take away their running lanes and to make them throw faster before they can make all their reads.
All right. I'm going to put it just very simply for me. Anything and everything, because here's the point where let's just be fair and honest here. And Jeremy will probably back me up on this, but we have seen so many times how this defense has been burned by mobile quarterbacks. Either it's been where they have not ran a whole lot, but they've thrown all over us, like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, or where they've done both, like today with Justin Fields, or vice versa. The whole point of the matter is that when we try to stop them, one thing or the other, or sometimes even both, comes back to bite us in the ass. And it's like, listen, whether it's, as Jeremy said, you're doing QB spies, whether it's you're doing stunts, whether it's bringing your pressure from multiple areas, just you've got to do something. You cannot keep running this cookie cutter basic stunt or this basic ideology that Aaron Glenn has been doing and think it's going to work. Because here's the thing, Aaron Glenn, you've been the defensive coordinator here for going on almost 3 years. And in the 3 years you've been here, we have yet to stop a mobile quarterback to the point where it's like, yes, we totally shut them down. It's never happened. And for me, that's a problem because it's like, if you can't do that, we're never going to actually win games when it really, truly matters. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm right.
All right, I'm back, guys. I'm sorry. I had to take care of a customer.
Nope, that's all right.
Oh, you good.
LDB Tennis says, Jeremy is here. Braylon Dennis says, yo, Jeremy.
Thanks for noticing, boys.
Patty Grimes says, Jeremy, get some Mountain Dew for your voice. Terry Ball says, the only Lions game I saw was Monday night at the bar. Oh, I'm assuming you mean the Raiders game.
Yeah.
Big M says, Aaron Jones was carted off today for the Packers. Definitely a factor for Thursday. He's not going to play. Freaking, if I recall correctly, their coach already said that he didn't expect he was going to be out long, but it was going to be a short-term injury, and there ain't no way he's coming back in 4 days.
Yes,
no way.
He's trying to play it off that he'll come back.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. I don't need someone to piss on my back and call it rain to know it ain't. Chuck Osborne says, thank you, Smoking Jeremy. Aaron Glenn needs to get his head out of his ass. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Braylon agrees with Jeremy 1,000,000%. Patty Grimes says, Aaron Glenn to Texas A&M. Now that would be fun.
Right.
Steve O'Baby says, I know how the Lions can get better on defense. Put Bobby Boucher in there. Hey, it might work.
Hey, we can give him Aaron Glenn's coaching job.
Oh, good Lord. Perry Baldwin says, AG to MSU or U of M.
No.
You go to MSU. You go to MSU.
Fuck that.
I
Justin
wouldn't
Walker.
even put him at State.
Justin Walker then says, AG to the Chargers. Justin Herbert will love him. Another defensive-minded coach that don't know shit. All right, let's move to our next topic here. So
That could actually work.
It'd be a match made in hell.
Well, no, because they're going to be down so much that all Justin Herbert's going to need to do is be throwing every damn play. So it could actually work.
That's what they do already almost.
I know.
All right, DC, you're up first for this one, so here we go. Jared Goff didn't have a good game today with 3 picks. Was the high amount of picks more on to do with bad decisions from Goff or just good defensive plays, in your opinion? What do you think?
I'd say good defensive plays and good coaching on the
All
Bears'
right.
part. And the pick on, I mean, Goff should have read it, but they obviously knew what type of routes that we were running to have a middle linebacker floating there. He should have read it, but, you know, that wasn't a middle linebacker not knowing what he was doing and just standing around. He was in the right place at the perfect right time. And if anything, Ragnow ought to buy Goff something for that pick because, holy shit, that was embarrassing. He was holding a guy, which should have been called, and he blocked it with the arm he wasn't holding. That was a terrible play on Ragnow. And the one that Laporta got, the Laporta one, how that wasn't called, I don't know. Because any other time you hit a receiver in the middle of the route, it's a penalty. But that somehow got overlooked.
All right, fair enough. I'm just gonna read this because I was reading this as you were saying what you were saying, DC, and I was paying attention, but this like completely threw me for a loop. So I have this Reddit post right here, and so there's this thread, and this one guy, he goes by the name of Eyes Heart Edon U, whatever. And he literally writes in the Reddit thread, he says, you win the turnover battle, you normally win the game, ... We've had 4 this game. He's like, if we win, ... I'll cut my balls off. Hopefully I'll have to cut my balls off.
Well, he does now.
Yep.
And that's why it literally says at the top of the thread, looks like I have to cut my balls off. I'm just like, dude, you just don't say that crap. That's just something you just don't say.
Right.
But all right, Jay, what do you think? Do you think the interceptions that Goff had today, which are kind of uncharacteristic for him, were more due to bad decisions by Goff or were by just good defensive play from the Bears?
The only one I can say that is a bad decision is the one that he threw to Tremaine Edmonds, because it looks like he threw it like right to him. Like there was no way that he could fit the ball into a tight window or anything. The other two were just like right place, right time. So I don't know if you want to call that good coaching, miscommunication, however you want to sum that one up. But the only one I can really put on him is that one that he threw right to Tremaine Edmonds. Like he just gave it to him.
All right, fair enough. What are your thoughts, Jeremy? What do you think?
The first two went right to a defender in bad spots. The one, he led Laporta too far and it went straight to the defender. And the other one, he didn't even see Tremaine Edmonds in the middle of the field covering Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm sorry. Those two are on Goff. The other one was a tip ball. So that one, that's just a great defensive play.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Dan? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy. 2 out of the 3 were just bad decisions. I mean, he had an uncharacteristic bad game. It happens. It sucked, but it is what it is. He bounced back towards the end. That's all that matters, and he got us a win.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Jay?
Didn't you get me already?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Sorry, Chris. Pardon me. I had you guys mixed up in the wrong spots on the panel board.
Okay, I was about to say, I agree with JB and Big Dan. I mean, 2 of those, I think Jerry was trying to thread it in, and sometimes he got to hold those back or see what other options that he have. He shouldn't have tried to window tight. Even though he good at it, I wouldn't press it in the situations that he was in. And other than that tip ball one, I mean, that could have been as far as like the Bears having good coverage. So I'm kind of on the fence with it.
All right. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody's going to have a difference of opinion on it. It's not really that big of a deal. I mean, the way I look at it, the one to Tremaine Edmonds over the middle, that one was bad. Even Goff himself said, listen, I didn't see him. And it's like, listen, you've got to see that one. That is easy peasy. Like, you don't miss something like that. The other two, I just credit more to just great defensive play, because it's like, well, the one I credit to great defensive play, the other one is just like bad place, bad time, whatever. Because like the one with the tips, like you said, DC, I don't know how the one dude with his other arm over top freaking bats the ball and just gets a tip drill. That to me is just like crazy. And the other one, it's like Laporta running into the defensive back. That's just, again, could you have called that for defensive pass interference? You could. Obviously, it wasn't. But again, Goff can't control the route per se. So for me, I'm a little bit different about it. But that's just me. Either way, Goff had a bad day. Not characteristic of him. Not good. The fact of the matter is he was able to pull it out in the win. And that's what you said, Dan. And I agree with you. So it's like, listen, just got to do better. Got to come out next Thursday or this upcoming Thursday and play better. That's all that comes to it. Let's take a look at some of these comments here.
Definitely got to play better Thursday. I want that Thanksgiving leg. I want that turkey leg.
Well, see, here's the funny thing. We haven't won on Thanksgiving since 2016. And that was when we played the Vikings and beat them 16-13.
Yep.
Let's see here. LEV Tennis says, Sheila makes a deal with the WBA team to hire Glenn as coach.
I got an idea. And this would piss off Bears fans in the process.
Don't you say it.
We trade him to the XFL team for Mike Singletary.
Ooh.
I'd be good with it.
That would be something.
Because look at what he did with Patrick Willis and Eric Armstead and all those guys. And Eric Armstead, isn't he still playing there for the 49ers?
I think he is. I could be wrong.
Or did he finally retire? I mean, that guy's been playing there since Mike Singletary was a coach and Harbaugh was a coach. He's been through more coaches than most players use underwear in a week.
I'm gonna check really quickly because I'm now kind of curious. You got my Eric Armstead is still a defensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers. He has been playing for the 49ers since 2015.
Exactly. That was the last year that Mike Singletary coached him. The next year. No.
Well, currently right now he's 30 years old, so he's still got plenty of years left.
Defensive tackle years at hitting somebody on the D line, like to the O line like that. I don't know how many more years he's got. D tackles usually don't play much further than 33 at most.
Well, we'll see. But either way, you were right. He's still there. Perry Ball says the refs were really bad. When the refs start having an effect on the game, it makes you wonder if they're doing it for TV ratings to keep the fans in it or for gambling.
Damn right.
And the other thing is the one streak is still intact for the Sun God. He's back on that 6+ reception streak.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 100-yard streak has been broken.
That's okay. I can live with that.
Justin Walker says the first pick was a PI, not called. Oh, I see what you got. That's a nice card right there.
Second autograph Christian Watson. It might be worth the paper it's printed on.
Maybe.
But the one I'm really happy with out of the same pack, my boy, Billy Sims.
Oh, Barry. Oh, that's Billy.
Yeah,
that's Billy.
That is awesome right there.
I had a couple other legends I like too. I got an Archie Manning and a Lawrence Taylor, no less.
Ooh. Ooh.
All right. When you asked me about this week and you asked me about Hutchinson, I said, didn't I say he'd have 2 sacks? But the one doesn't count as a sack because Fields never fell before he fumbled the ball.
I thought it did.
Nope. He had the sack in the first half, remember? The one stop we made where we got the ball back and got to force them to punt, which let us drive down to take the lead at 14-10.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he had a sack, but then during the game I checked the stat sheet and he wasn't credited with it.
He has 1 sack, but he didn't get credited with the second one because it was a strip. He was still in the air. He never fell. He got the ball out before he was down. So that's it. Even though it counts as a strip sack, it doesn't count in the sack column.
Gotcha.
According to ESPN, the only 2 players with sacks in this game for the Lions were Aiden Hutchinson and Lee McNeil.
Exactly.
So, anyway, let's see here.
So the Rams did win, everybody?
Looks like that's what Chuck Osborne is saying. Great job, Rams. Let me check it out here really quickly. So, yep, the Rams won 17-16. They won by 1 point.
That's what's up.
That's Jonathan Matthew Stafford. That's all I have to say.
Stafford actually didn't play that well. 17 of 31, 190 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick for a 70.6 rating. That's about what Jared Goff did today, actually, as far as passer rating is concerned anyway.
Right.
But either way, I mean, a win's a win. The Rams are now 4-6 on the year, and the Seahawks now fall to 6-4.
Hey, D, take this battery in the back.
But all right here. Brent DeWitt says 4 turnovers and still won. Damn, the Bears are bad, but Goff's leadership came through in the end. Ugly, but just win, baby. LDN Podcast says www.comeback. Thomas Lewis says I was critical of Aaron Glenn on his adjustments, but he did pretty good. I mean, considering what was going on during the game, this was one of his better moments, but he's still got to do a better job getting after mobile quarterbacks.
Yep.
All right, let's move into our next topic of the night. And so, Chris, you'll be first. So here's the topic. Jameson Williams has started to develop a trust as a deep threat that the Lions offense is further exploiting. Do you think JMO is primed to have a breakout game soon? Because I know everybody's talking about it. Everybody's saying, oh, JMO's about ready for a breakout game. So what do you think?
I think that he needs another good game. I think the Green Bay game is gonna prime him, and then I think the next game that we have, I think he gonna have a breakout because he's showing that he could be a threat, not a deep threat yet, but a threat.
What do you mean not a deep
And
threat? Do you realize that this is the first time since 1992 in Herman Moore that the first 3 catches for touchdowns are over 30 yards for a receiver?
right, and I understand that, but just like how pretty much it looks, it's like he's getting there. Like this is a game. Like I'm not taking any credit from him, but I think that he just need like one more game to be that breakout to where he'll be put on like newsflash. We got to look out for him. I'm
H-Man
already know,
84.
JB. I already know.
Either way, I'm just going to say this. The fact of the matter is that he's now starting to get more catches, whether they're short, medium. He does obviously still have a deep threat. So I understand where both y'all are coming from. But with that being said, Dan, what do you think about the question?
Yes, I do. He's been getting better and better as the season went on ever since he came back. You know what I mean? So even in games he wasn't making catches, he's been a hell of a blocker. You know what I mean? And he's the last couple games he's been making awesome catches. So I do think he is primed for a breakout game for sure. Whether that's Thursday or the game after, I don't know, but he'll have one eventually.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I know you got something about this, Jeremy. So what are your thoughts on the whole matter?
He's developing right in front of our eyes. What did I say? I said if he stops dropping catches by the time that Thanksgiving gets here, that means he's going to get it. Because that right there is exactly 17 games. Thus, his rookie season is done.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to start catching up to where everyone was at by the end of your rookie season, that means you're at least starting to make progress.
And isn't Jair Alexander still hurt?
He might be. I'd have to check the injury report. I'll
How
check
about
that
the
out.
Chargers snatching defeat from victory in Green Bay?
Yeah, that was a fun one. But Jay, what's your thoughts on the whole thing with JMO?
As the more he gets more confident, he's gonna light up the field with that speed and his ability to break away from defenders. So I think he's gonna be primed for a big game here real soon. I'm not gonna guarantee, against Green Bay at home Thanksgiving, or we're at Lambeau. My bad. At Lambeau Thanksgiving, but. It's coming. He's going to get it. He's been putting the work in, blocking.
Yeah, we're home on Thanksgiving.
I was about to say, yeah, we're always at home for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Always at home.
My bad. Time flies by. But he's primed for a big game. It's coming. People are going to start realizing that, they're not the same old Lions, and they're going to give more. They're going to give more people to worry about than just the sun god.
All right. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, DC? What are your thoughts on the whole matter?
Absolutely. The big thing is going to be the snap count. He's not out there that much right now to have a breakout game. And he's blocking. He's doing everything when he doesn't have the ball. He's earned that spot. And as soon as he's there on a regular basis and is one of the higher snap counts of the wide receivers, he's going to get open. That touchdown play was beautiful because everyone went after St. Brown.
Yeah.
And there's JMO sitting there, grabbing a drink and baking a sandwich while the ball's getting put in his hand. He just needs to be on the field more. And as soon as he is, he's going to be tearing people up.
Yep. Next time he going to be with the tailgaters eating a hamburger and he's still going to catch it.
For all those haters out there because he hasn't been able to play because for some reason they keep him on the inactive list. Y'all know who this is.
We can't tell. Is that part of mine?
Yes, it is. Okay. I have his entire stats here. His stat line for all of 3 years of college.
I have a stat line for the NFL.
One tackle for loss, and 3 double teams, which freed people up for blitzes. I'm good with that. And 10 and 11
that's
snaps.
Right. He did get to play. Sorry, I forgot he had played yet.
Yep. But anyways, his NCAA totals for 3 years: 143 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and a forced fumble.
Mm.
Yep. Hey, whatever he needs to do to get in the lineup, please hurry up and do it.
I don't know what he's got to do because they keep saying, yeah, he had some good snaps. We're going to try to give him more reps going forward, and they've made him inactive the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Martin there, but it is what it is. And I just looked it up, Jeremy. Yes, he did not play this week. He was a limited participant Thursday and Friday, but they sat him out. So that tells me that chances are the reason they probably did that is because since they have a short week and they're getting ready for us, they're probably set to try and start him against us. But we'll see. But
exactly.
As far as Jamo is concerned, I've always known that the kid had talent because it's like, listen, the guy was an absolute standout at fucking Alabama. Freaking Brad Holmes traded up to get him. It's like, listen, Brad Holmes is not going to make a move like that unless he feels that the guy has something to offer. If he doesn't think that the player is a guy that can really play and ball out. For me, it's just like, listen, people just had to give him time. People just had to be patient. And I'm telling you this right now. I've said it before. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Lions fans have very little patience. This goes back to the whole Fickle thing. It's like, listen, they have no problem tearing down players when they're not doing what they think they do. But when it actually comes around to them actually doing something, they're very slow to give praise.
I also got it in the limited edition version.
Nice. So for me, it's like, listen, I fully expect that Jamo's going to get more and more opportunities. I don't know when his breakout game is going to be, but I'm pretty confident it's probably going to be somewhere towards the end of the year.
It's going to be one of these teams that has an injured cornerback room, which they're coming up. If you think about it, we got the Packers and we also got the Saints coming up. Both of them have injured cornerback rooms.
Yep. Let's take a look. See here. Big M says we're watching Jamo grow before our eyes. He just needs to get reps.
Yes, sir.
Peter Jabatak says, yeah, Jamo was good today. James Burgess says Jamo was one of us, in my honest opinion, which is exactly what Dan Campbell said. LDV Tennis says, what does it say about the NFC East when the Giants beat the Commanders 31-19? Bad competition props up QBs in that division.
Yeah, because Tommy DeVito looked like the next coming of Eli Manning there in playoffs.
Perry Ball says, people need to let Jamo develop. He works hard, slowly developing. And again, what's the saying? Slow and steady wins the race. LEV Tennis says Jamo had a crucial catch on 2 TD drives, one for a TD and one for a conversion on 3rd and long. James Burgess says Jamo blocks 3 guys for David Montgomery's touchdown mission, mean he's in. Let's see here. Justin Walker says, I can't wait for the fucking Packers. I'm wearing my Thanksgiving Barry Sanders jersey and enjoying a turkey leg. Brent DeWitt says those stats are inflated against weaker competition. Martin, I mean. Okay. Let's move into our next topic here. So DC is up first when he gets a moment. So here we go. Despite the win, more questions keep arising about the Lions coordinators. Do you think the Lions coordinators are either overrated or underrated? What do you think, DC?
I want to say overrated in terms of, overrated. Ben Johnson is great, but I'm going to say overrated because I don't think he'll make a good head coach with 2 years as an offensive coordinator. He can be great, but he does have his flaws. He can design great plays, do everything else, but, he's awesome. I don't think he's the god that people put him on the pedestal as he is yet. He needs more time to do that. And Glenn has his moments. I mean, what was that streak? We ran how many games with how many sacks earlier in the year? We were getting like 5 sacks a game or something like that.
That's happened twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah, so he's had his moments, and he's had his moments when it's like, what the hell are you doing? Are you just sitting at a default play all game?
All right.
So, yeah, I would lean towards underrated.
You mean
or
overrated?
Sorry. Yeah, overrated.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Jay? Do you think our coordinators are overrated or underrated?
I have to agree with DC on the part about Ben Johnson, but AG, I'm gonna have to disagree. I don't even think he's qualified to run a Pee Wee football team.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Jeremy? I'm sure you've got something to say about this. Overrated or underrated are our coordinators?
I think AG so overrated that he thinks his shit don't stink, and he keeps trying to run things his way. And I think Ben Johnson, it really depends on the week, because he'll call a game plan where it looks flawless, and then he'll call one that looks like a stinker.
All right, fair enough. What about you? What about you, Dan? Pardon me, I was tripping over my tongue.
Ben Johnson might be a little bit overrated, but he needs, because like Jeremy said, he calls a stinker one week or at times, but then he's awesome the next. And fuck Aaron Glenn, that guy's rated SA for sucks ass. I hate that motherfucker. Sorry.
Ain't no reason to apologize. He sucks ass. He is not our best defensive coordinator.
All right, fair enough. Chris, what do you think? Overrated or underrated are our coordinators?
I'm gonna say overrated because Ben Johnson, yeah, like I say, and like the panel said, I mean, he's a good coordinator. I mean, he just ain't got enough time to develop a little bit more. I mean, there are some teams that he haven't played against yet within this 3 years, so he got to know pretty much everybody's tendencies to know what to do and how to do it at the right time. And then the overrated with Aaron Glenn, that cocky son of a man, I swear, if I was on that field, I'll be snatching him up like, hey, you got to go, bro. You got to go. Get out.
I wish they gave us Lions fans a choice on what happens. Like, we could just message the coach or something like, hey, fire this motherfucker. Why is he still working for y'all?
Do you guys
approve that message?
I'm going to say this right now, and Jeremy probably can remember this. Do y'all remember back in 2008 when we went 0-16 and that one reporter from the Detroit News went after Rod Marinelli for Joe Brady or whatever it was, the defensive coordinator, and it was after a game they'd lost, which was any of them, but it was later in the year. And he's like, is the reason you haven't fired him because he is your son-in-law? And that just sparked a huge fucking thing in the entirety of the NFL, not just for the Lions, but the whole NFL, because it was like, listen, now you're taking personal jabs at the head coach because this man is your son-in-law. And I was like, dude, I'm wondering how much further it's going to take before some shit like that has to happen. Because that was fucking epic back in those days. Like, those days, it was kind of crazy what reporters could get away with.
Right.
I mean, at this point, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, is the only reason they're not firing him because him and Dan Campbell are good butt buddies? Like, I love Dan Campbell, but shit, you know, I got my friends, I got my best friends, but at the end of the day, it comes down between me and you. Sorry, I'm picking me over you. I got a family to feed. I need to make money. If you can't fucking do the job I hired you to do, you know, shit, go back to coaching DBs. Maybe you're good at that. Maybe you're not meant to be a fucking defensive coordinator. Maybe he needs to try and pass the job off to somebody else. Shit.
All I'm going to say is this. I definitely agree with everyone in the panel. Aaron Glenn is overrated as hell. Like, I'm sorry. Everybody that wants to try and say that Aaron Glenn's a good defensive coordinator, he just hasn't gotten the talent or the pieces. Like, listen, dude, I have backed this up with stats. I've backed this up with reason. I've backed this up with logic. You cannot say Aaron Glenn is overrated when Brad Holmes has drafted near 60% of his draft classes around said defense. And every single time we turn around, what do we keep adding? Defensive talent. What did we just add not that long ago? An aging defensive end, pass rusher in Bruce Irvin because we can't get a pass rush generated. We've got Aiden Hutchinson. We've got the Aquara brothers. We've got the Commish. We've got all these different defensive linemen that we've either added or drafted, yet Aaron Glenn and all of his supposed ability to coach can't figure out how to generate a damn pass rush. Man, I wonder where it could possibly be the problem. So for me, Aaron Glenn's definitely overrated. Now, what I'm going to say about Ben Johnson is this. I don't think Ben Johnson is either overrated or underrated. I think he's right where he should be. Because, again, I agree with Jeremy and Dan. There are times where I sit back and I scratch my head and I'm like, why did you call that play, Ben Johnson? Perfect example. Today against the Bears, there was a 3rd and 2 situation. We had just ran a 20-yard play with David Montgomery, then another 8-yard play with David Montgomery. It's 3rd and 2. I'm thinking, this is an easy run. Just run the damn ball. You've been running it down the throats the whole damn drive. Next thing we know, he calls Jared Goff to throw a short pass. It's incomplete. Punt the ball. And I'm like, why the hell would you call a pass play there? That makes no damn sense. Run the ball. And there are times like that throughout games or even throughout an entire game where Ben Johnson will do that. And then, as you said, Jeremy, and Dan agreed, and I agree as well, there are times where he just calls a beautiful, absolutely maestro game plan. Perfect example I can think of, the Bears game last year, we stomped them 41-10. The Panthers game this year, we stomped them 48-24. There are times where Ben Johnson just looks like an absolute master of the game. And then there's other times where I'm like, why did you call that? That makes no damn sense. So I think Ben Johnson, I think he's kind of right where he should be, but Aaron Glenn is overrated as hell. Like, dude, if he got any worse about it, I'd just be like, dude, your head is so inflated that the only way to get it back down to normal size is to take a pin and pop it like a freaking zit. LAB Tennis says that Matt Eberflus would make a good DC for the Lions.
I like my idea. Trade him to the XFL and get Mike Singletary.
I know who you'd prefer, Jeremy. You want the DC from Iowa.
No, I want the head. I mean, he'd be all right. But in all actuality, let's bring back Luther Ellis as a coach.
Now, that'd be an interesting conundrum. That'd be very interesting. Or Robert Porcher. I wouldn't mind him either.
Either one.
James Burgess says, Lion OCs are overrated, not in a bad way. I believe Dan himself has more positive influence on the staff than is obvious. Well, that kind of goes back to what everyone's perception of him is. Everyone thinks he's a meathead. No one thinks he's smart. But it's like, he's actually very smart.
And I'm going to defend something that a lot of fans have criticized him for in week 2 at home. When you're on the road, you should try to play for the win, because it's very hard to win in overtime on the road. When you're at home, you play for the tie because the odds are usually in your favor. That's what the analytics said. Yeah, and that's what the analytics say. Everybody criticized them and saying that they should have used their timeouts and gone for a touchdown and did this and did that. And what he said was exactly right. You go for the tie and you leave no time on the clock and you let it be down to a coin flip.
Well, I know a lot of people are still kind of irked with that decision, but whatever. That's over and done with. That's water under the bridge. Braylon Dennis says perfectly rated, so my answer is neither. Perry Ball says Aaron Glenn needs to learn and stop being stubborn. Ben Johnson is not ready for a head coaching job yet. Braylon Dennis says AG is ass. LDV Tennis says Johnson had a bad plan to start this game. James Burgess says, if Staley gets fired, let's make him defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach, but like Schwartz, he's good when given a more specific task.
He actually was a very good defensive coordinator.
And coincidentally enough, who was he coordinator for? Oh, that's right, the Rams, where there's connections with Brad Holmes. LDV Tennis says, Goff saved Johnson this game. Last 2 drives were hurry up. Chargers did that to us last week. Herbert got all the credit for that. Goff should get the same credit.
Yeah,
He does. I mean, he's going to get the game-winning drive. He's going to get the comeback win. It's just everything else that happened prior to that, you've also got to tack on as well. And again, I say that the 2 out of the 3 interceptions weren't his fault, but the point of the matter is Goff still threw the pass. They're still going to count against him. As much as I would like that not being the case, I have to deal with the reality of the situation. Braylon Dennis says AG is horse ass. Justin Walker says, I hope AG doesn't get Campbell like what happened with the BQMP era. No, don't you dare even speak it into existence. Big M says, I hope that some team offers AG a job. It wouldn't surprise me if he does, because typically what happens is teams that fire their head coaches, they look at teams that are very successful at their coordinators, and they usually go after them. And let's think about it. The last 2 off seasons, Aaron Glenn has gotten head coaching interviews. So it wouldn't surprise me if he were to get one and he'd actually get the job this time.
And I was
Fingers
hoping he was
crossed.
getting it last year because he needs to get his fuck ass out of here. And when he didn't get it, I fucking
Wasn't that
Oh,
2
God.
seasons ago? Because that was when they hired the guy for Minnesota, right?
You talking about Kevin O'Connell?
Yeah.
Either way, I know last season he got 2 head coaching job interviews, and the year before that, I think he got 2 as well, because one of them was for the Saints, and that went ultimately to Dennis Allen.
I thought he got a head coaching offer for the Cardinals as well.
No, he never got an offer. He just got chances for interviews. J.I. says Chris Spielman for defensive coordinator. Now that I would be all for.
Yeah, I approve of that.
I'd love it, but he hasn't coached.
Big
And
M
Chris
says
said he has
He's
no
never
interest in
coached.
coaching.
Yeah.
Big M says, I think if you have a chance to win it in regulation, then you go for the touchdown. Again, that's the fans' perspective. Again, it kind of goes back to coaching, analytics, and what you think is for it. Ed W says, can I eat crow for Thanksgiving? I'm so glad for having Gibbs. Him and Montgomery work so well together.
Damn right.
Mhm.
Gibbs is another one who had a hellacious game. He running people over every time he touches it. Holy shit, he is a badass.
Did you see that when we were setting up to get the last touchdown, and it was a screen pass to him on the outside? The defender has him dead to rights, 3 feet away. He dead-legged him. Dead-legged him. The guy dives at him. He just goes around him and gets another 5 yards to set it up on 3rd and 2 on that play.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a
Ooh,
badass.
I don't know about that one. Travis Nitzberg says Brian Flores for defensive coordinator.
That would have been great if we'd have did that last year.
Mhm.
He ain't leaving many now. So,
No. Justin Walker then says, I hope every team calls him. Please get rid of him. We'll see what happens. The offseason's not that far away now. All right, here we go. So, Chris, you're the first one to answer this question, so here it is. A win is a win is a win, right? Despite the fact we won, are you still happy with the end result of 31-26, or do you think the Lions should have won more convincingly against the Bears? What do you think, Chris?
I think they should have won more convincingly because, for the simple fact, I want to say that it's everybody agree with me. It's the defense. The defense, if they would have stepped up, we would have won this game convincingly. And I mean, that's like hands down.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Dan? What are your thoughts on everything?
well, a win is a win, but I mean, if Aaron Glenn would have had his head out of his ass, we could have won more convincingly because, well, I mean, he just needs to make better decisions. God, I hate that fucker. Fuck.
Man, I'm on that boat with you.
Every time you say his name, it seems like your face just wants to scrunch in on itself.
I was
Man,
raging during the game, trust me.
Yes, he was.
All right, Jeremy, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the Lions should have had a more convincing win, or are you just fine with the fact that we won?
With the way the game played out, everybody should just fine. We fucking won because in all actuality, they had a 2-1 time of position. They outgained us. They outplayed us 3.5 quarters. If it was the same old Lions, we don't win that game. Hands down, end of story. Be happy with the win.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough, Jeremy. What do you think, Jay? What are your thoughts?
I mean, a win is a win. I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to try and take away the win. I'm not going to try and, argue that. And, defense, yeah, we got a shitty defensive coordinator. We can't do nothing about it because they won't fire him. But, the whole thing is I don't think we can blame the defense entirely because offense did give up the ball 3 times. I mean, the offense shouldn't have to bail out our defense, but without those 3 turnovers, turn them into 3 touchdowns, the game would have been out of hand.
All right, fair enough. What are your thoughts, DC? What are your thoughts on this question?
I'll take the great win, but the thing that's still worrying the most is we got exposed. I guarantee you that Minnesota watched Baltimore tape and studied our Baltimore game as much, if not more, than they did the San Diego game. and I guarantee you that's what Minnesota is going to do too. And it's just everything got exposed, and we were able to man up and win at the end. But I don't like that everything got so exposed between offense and defense during that game.
All right, fair enough. Here's what I'm going to say. I agree that a win is a win is a win, and I'm happy that we won. But it's one of those situations where I told myself going into this game that because of how bad the Bears are, because we have to be honest with ourselves, are the Bears better than what their record is? Yeah, I agree they're probably better, but they're not that much better. They're maybe a win or two better than what the record actually says they are right now. But the point of the matter is that the Lions are the division leader. Nobody is touching them right now. Nobody is close to touching them, save maybe the Vikings. And we still have to see how they're going to play tonight against the Broncos for Sunday Night Football. My whole point of the matter is this. Even if you want to just take a look at the scoreboard and say, oh, well, the Lions won by 5, that's not that bad. Here's the thing, though. Anybody who watched that game would know for 100% of a fact that that game was pretty much out of our control for virtually 90% of it. If it wasn't for the last 4 minutes of the game where the Lions decided to wake from their slumber, we would have lost that game. And that, to me, is the problem that's most concerning. That's the problem that's most perplexing to me, because it's like, listen, this is a game that should never have been out of our control. This is a game that never should have felt like we had no shot of winning. But yet for about, I'd say 90% of that game again, it felt like we were about to be handed a loss towards our division rival at home when we should have had that game easy. So for me, it's like, yes, I'm glad we won. But I wanted it to be much more convincing, kind of like what happened last year when we played the Bears at home and we stomped the ever-living hell out of them 41-10. And Braylon, the answer to your question is yes, I'm going to probably watch it, but I'm not going to do anything with it. I just want to see what the Vikings do against the Broncos, because the Broncos of all teams have kind of caught a little bit of life. They've won their last 3 games against some really good teams. So it's like I'm kind of curious to see if maybe Sean Payton's got things working there. But let's take a look, see at some of these questions really quickly here. Lions Mania says Aaron Glenn probably needs to go, though. Lone Wolf says I was at the game and wow, Lions got lucky, but I'm glad for the win. Coaches and players need to improve this team. Chemicals Tyler in says Goff had a bad game but closed it out. Lions Mania says, how do you not contain Fields from running with the football? You know it's his superpower. Facts. Ryan Shaw says he had to get a few interview bias based on the fact that he's black. I mean, I hate that rule. I really do. The fact that you have to interview someone because of an ethnic minority or a racial minority is just stupid. That Rooney rule is stupid because it just means you're gonna interview people that you really have no interest in hiring. But whatever, that's just my opinion. I think you should always want to interview the best person for the job. Silence says, fuck that, just win. Ryan Shaw says, doesn't mean he's worthy of them. Nick Burton says, Green Bay after Thanksgiving going to be Green Nay slackers. Okay. Steve O'Baby says, I think the Lions should have opened up a can of whoop ass on the Chicago Bears. Thank you, Bobby Boucher. Braylon Dennis says, obviously we should have won more convincingly. James Burgess says, Lions fans, we need to thank our division rivals for collusion. Minnesota got us J-Mo, then took Cox's contract in full and gave us the means to get Sam, and Chicago let Monty come our way. Brad is Yoda or Vader?
Vader.
These are
Vader.
not the players. No,
Vader.
he's 100% Obi-Wan. What he did was, these are not the players you're looking for.
Oh, boy. Chemical says good teams find ways to win no matter how ugly the W is.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's exactly right.
Jake Tapping says Will Harris, Jerry Jacobs, and Charles Harris is the reason our defense sucks. I will definitely give you Will Harris.
Will Harris, Jerry Jacobs, if you're going to call that touchdown pass that was over his head, the only reason why he couldn't do anything with that is he has the ups of an elephant.
Yeah. Jomo Lion King says, I think there was more of the offense sleeping than the defense problems. There's definitely that too. Let's see here. James Burgess says, I love this win for the following reason. Wake up coffee time.
This was a wake-up game for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that lights a fire under their ass to fucking destroy Green Bay.
Then Jomo Lion King says, shouldn't Khalif be our kick returner? Yes, if he
That's a
wasn't
good
injured.
point. But he played today.
Yes, but they said that they didn't want to overload him. They said he was most likely going to play, but they felt that if he couldn't do his kick returning duties, they would just limit him to his wide receiver duties. That's why they had Reynolds back there. I think it's a little weird because it's like, if you're able to play, you should be able to play all your jobs, not just one that you're most likely going to get production out of. But
I guess that kick returner we had the preseason's going.
I guess. All right, let's move into our third from final topic here. So DC's up first. So we're now going to actually start talking about the game that we got coming up on Thursday. So here it is. Lions are set for a very short week as they prepare for the Packers at home for Thanksgiving. What must the Lions do to play a better game versus their other division rival since we just played the Bears? What do you think, DC?
Lean on what we did when we beat the Packers the first time, and not how we played the last 3-4 games. Go back to doing that because whatever that was doing worked.
Wasn't it somebody said put DPJ in as kick returner? Wasn't that he the one injury we had? Because Craig Reynolds came back in the game, and I didn't see DPJ the rest of the game. Something about his back.
He was one of the people that Goff was trying to target when he threw that interception.
I understand that, but after that, you didn't see him back in the game.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about it during the broadcast.
I could have swore I heard them say.
I heard nothing. So
I could have swore they said somebody had a bad back and may not return.
And
I know the Bears center had a bad back and wouldn't return.
I could have sworn it was done.
And the other part to that is say, fuck this losing on Thanksgiving. This is our arch rival. Let's go kick the shit out of them and embarrass the fuck out of them. That would be all.
Well, the way I look at it is very simple. And we haven't won on Thanksgiving in freaking 7 years. I would like to fucking win.
And that fucking streak right now and carry that chip on your shoulder and just outman them and beat the living shit out of them.
Fair enough.
Wow. I know why the Seahawks lost the end of that game.
Why?
Geno Smith went out with an elbow injury.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Lock came in.
Yep, they said that he got hit on his right elbow and he was all bandaged up, so they had to go to their backup. Which, I mean, there's a clear, obvious difference between the talent of Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Very clear difference. All right, Jay, what about you? What do you think the Lions must do to play better against their other division rivals as they get ready for Thanksgiving?
I agree with what DC said. They need to sit down and rewatch that Packers game because for that whole first half, we didn't let them do nothing. But the only difference, keep the foot on the gas. Choke the shit out of them. Don't let them come back. Don't let them try and, even though Quay Walker will probably give us the game, don't make it to that point. Just put your foot on the fucking gas, run them over, and get rid of them. They think that they're still kings of the north. They think they're gonna beat us. They think they're gonna win out. Just show them that they're wrong.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Jeremy? What's your thought about it?
Do exactly what we did last time. We just pressured the fuck out of Love. He gets so frustrated he gets broken, and then he doesn't recover for 3 games again.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Dan? What are your thoughts?
defensively, twist, stunt, bring the heat, pressure Love, improve the defense a little bit, and we're winning this game.
All right. And to finish it off, what do you think, Chris?
Blitz, 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 LOL, blitz.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. Obviously, you need to frazzle Jordan Love. Again, Jordan Love has had moments where he looks okay. But when he gets frazzled, he gets freaking pressured and he starts getting off his game. That's when he starts making bad decisions. So that's one thing we got to do. The second thing we've got to do is we have got to freaking use the Packers' weaknesses against them. Because here's the thing. Even if Jair Alexander plays, he's not going to be at 100%. Their other cornerback is most likely not going to play. And we already know the fact is that the Packers, we saw what we did against them on the last time we played them on Thursday Night Football. We could run all over them. So it's like, listen, run the ball, get the play action game going, and just freaking run it down their damn throats. Make this a very physical freaking Thanksgiving game where we let them know Oh, yeah, you already lost to us once. You're going to lose again in worse fashion.
Yeah.
All right. Chris is up first for our second to last topic, so here we go. Game against the Packers is the first time in a while where the Lions might actually win on Thanksgiving since, as I said, 2016. How important would it be to win this game and advance to 9-2 on the year, in your opinion?
I think it's very important for us to win because definitely I want to keep that 1 or 2 seed. And the way our schedule is, we can get it. It all depends on how the rest of the NFL do. But right now, we need to keep our cushion.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, Dan? How important do you think it is for the Lions to win not only on Thanksgiving, but to improve to 9-2?
It's very important. You win the game, you keep the momentum going, and the momentum to get that number 1, maybe number 2 seed. So a win is very important here.
All right. What do you think, Jeremy? What are your thoughts?
Just win, baby. Just win. It's that important. It's every win gets us better in the seeding. And it puts other teams that already have 3 losses more in the rearview mirror.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What do you think, Jay? How important do you think it is to get a win on Thanksgiving?
It's very important because like these fans, they want that turkey leg. Everybody wants this Thanksgiving win, and we want bragging rights. Like we want to be able to prove to the NFC like nobody can touch us right now. And Green Bay feels like they're that one people that are that close to being, we can compete with you guys. We want to, like I said, just shove it down their fucking throats.
All right, fair enough. The way I look at it is simple. Yes, Jeremy, you are right. You want to just win. Just win, get the win. But here's the way I look at it. I look at it from a significance of this. If we win on Thanksgiving, you know what that means, boys, right? That means we will have won 4 primetime games in a row. We would have won Thursday. We would have won our Monday night game. We would have won our Thursday night game against the Packers. And we would have won our freaking Saturday night game that we won last year at the end. Here's the other thing it would mean. It would mean 3 times on prime time we have beaten the Packers in a row. So that would be another further significance. Number 2, it would also mean that we are 3-0 in the division against our division rivals. And for a second straight year, we have swept the Packers. So further, fuck the Packers moment on top of that. And then on top of that, think about it this way. At 9-2, all you need really is one more game, and then you've pretty much locked up the playoffs. Because at 10 wins, you pretty much have stamped your ticket to the playoffs. So for me, it's like, listen, from a prestige perspective, you want to win it because it's just going to be a huge fuck the Packers moment. Because it's like, listen, we have owned you in every sense of the word on primetime, at home, at away, and now you are our bitch. So there's that. But then on top of that, it's big because it's like, listen, Thanksgiving has been a tradition for Lions fans going back to the fucking 60s. That's our game. Yep. That is our one time to shine in national spotlight. And we haven't won in 7 years. I think the fans of Detroit would like to actually be able to enjoy a turkey leg and be like, hey, we won. We can actually take our turkey nap and know that we won. So that's why I think that's the significance of, winning that game. Let's take a look, see at these comments really quickly. J-Mo Lion King says, run the football. James Burgess says, crikey, my typing is getting worse. Well, I know where you're from, my friend. You are from down under, the Australian outback. Braylon Dennis says, sack the fuck out of love, please, for shit's sake.
Amen.
Raider Goldheart says, right?
Shouldn't be hard.
It shouldn't be. Everything Spicy says to me, did any of our new acquirements play today? Donovan People-Jones played a little bit.
That's pretty much it because Bruce Irvin wasn't still on the practice squad.
Yeah, they still haven't activated him yet. They probably won't for at least another week or two. Braylon Dennis says, pressure to fuck out of love on my dead uncle. AG needs to get his shit together. Woo. Give me a little chill up my spine. Independent Aquaman says Lions didn't run much against the Bears because the Bears had the NFL's 7th best run D, and the Lions had the 11th worst run protection by our offensive line.
How did we get over 100 yards then?
Yep.
LDV Tennis says Gino got them in field goal position. They missed.
So he came back in the game.
Goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what J.I. said. Gino came back in, put him in field goal range, then the kicker missed. James Burgess says, Turkey Day plan, run, then run some more, then run some more on top of that. And yeah, Gino gave way to luck. First guesses are bone chips for my pals out west, which if he's got bone chips in his elbow, he's fucked.
Yep.
Independent Aquaman says, I won't hate on DC defensive coordinator Glenn regarding the things he's innocent of. Almost everything he's guilty of, though.
Yeah.
LEV Tennis says, need to run more outbreaking routes. James Burgess says, take love to the Windsor Ballet Wednesday night, then blitz early and often.
Yes, sir.
James Burgess says, keep that prime time winning streak going. NFL officials are swayed by a variety of factors. What do you got, Jeremy? I saw your finger go up.
So I'm just trying to get. Yes, it was big runs. If that's such a great fucking run defense, they shouldn't have allowed any big runs.
Yep.
They were ranked that high because they haven't played a running team yet. Everybody that they played have had dog shit running backs.
We also weren't in the position to run most of the game.
That is very true. I actually looked this up. Out of all the teams up until today, out of all the teams that the Bears had played for rushing offenses, only 2 of them were ranked 15th or higher. Only 2. And we're the first one they faced that's top 5 or more. So it's like, yeah, that makes a big difference. J.I. says, Goff, get the turducken.
Damn right.
Jake Tapong says, running QBs are our weakness. Yes.
Yep.
Because AG's too stubborn to run a fucking QB spy.
James Burgess says, when is third generation, he's referring to Archie Manning, available for draft?
2026 or 2027.
Yep.
Who cares? I mean, it's 2026.
Justin Walker says, if we win 13 games, isn't that a Lions' best record? Yes, it is. Our best overall season record for wins is 12-4. Our best regular season record of all time is 10-2. And that goes all the way back to 1962.
You were 92. That was 92 when we were 12-4, right? 91 or 92.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the year we got to the conference championship game and we lost to the Redskins.
Yep.
Badly.
Independent Aquaman says Packers have the 2 best pass protecting O-line and 3rd worst rush protecting O-line, whereas our D sucks against pass and kicks ass against the run, so this could be a high-scoring game. Well, we'll find out one way or the other. Whoa. All right, let's get to our last topic of the night here. So, DC, you're up first, so here we go. This is actually going to be a little bit of a thinker here. So, Packers just won a squeaker against the Chargers, just like we did last week. After this game against the Bears, where we barely won again, how do the Lions ensure not to take the Packers too lightly, in your opinion?
My opinion, it's a division rival, our arch enemy, Thanksgiving Day, and we're going to kick their ass. Yeah, we went down the line. We went to the wire against a bad team. We went to a high-scoring wire against a good team. How many points did they put up against the Packers? Against the Chargers?
23.
23. Yeah. Well, we put up 41. So, yeah. Okay. That part we can be cocky about. But other than that, don't worry about all that shit. It's our Packers. Just curb stomp the cheeseheads. Let's kick their ass.
All right, fair enough. What are your thoughts, Jay? What do you think the Lions have to do to make sure they don't take the Packers too lightly?
I think we need to have 400 yards rushing the ball, 2 for DeMont, 2 for Gibbs, and maybe a few touchdowns from Jared Goff.
You're just talking about a damn offensive onslaught.
Yep.
All right, Jeremy, what are your thoughts? What do you think the Lions have to do to make sure they don't take the Packers too lightly for this game?
Run the ball, get pressure on Love, run the ball some more, hit the fuck out of Love, make him look like Justin Fields did his rookie year when he got hit that first time he came out as a backup. Remember
right.
that?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
He had that deer in the headlight looks like, what the fuck did I just happen to get hit with?
Yeah, I remember what the D lineman said as he was walking away, because that was actually, it happened against Green Bay when he got hit. He goes, "We're pretty slow, aren't we?"
All right, Dan, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
Pressure on Love, power bomb Jordan Love into the turf, and then run the shit out of the football.
All right, fair enough. And what about you, Chris? What do you think the Lions have to do?
I'm a pro JB message, but with a side of what I just reiterated. Put that motherfucking Aaron Glenn in the closet and leave him there until the end of the game, and then we'll win it.
Yes.
All right, I can definitely understand that. So, with that having been said, we have officially come to the end of our show, which coincidentally is perfect because Sunday Night Football is just about to start. So, without further ado, Jeremy, do as you always do to take us away, and then we'll call it a night.
Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. Starts in here. Love everybody. Don't forget to go down there and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. David does a good show.
Absolutely. And as always, also
Yeah.
make sure you tune into Jeremy's show. He does a great show too at Smoking Jeremy B. Absolutely great, a great guy. Been a good friend of mine for the last couple of years. You guys have all been good friends. So thankful for you guys tuning into the show and for my panel guests for coming on. With that having been said, it'll be 4 days until you all see me again when we do the post-game show after the Thanksgiving game against the Packers. Hopefully we can stop an absolute mud hole in them. But until then, love the fact that we're 8-2. We've beaten the Bears, so let's enjoy the win. Let's get ready for the Packers. And until then, one pride, go Lions.